Uh-oh. Oh, oh. Am I here? Wait, hello? Oh, I'm back. Wait, how long did I go away for? It didn't even give me an alert. Oh no, yes, I am dropped. Oh no. Okay, let's close this. And that. Anything that is taking bandwidth, you're good. Yeah, but it's funny. I didn't. That's so bizarre. I've never seen that happen. So you guys told me that I was crashing, but my internet was still working, and I hadn't gotten any notifications that I had dropped frames or anything had gone wrong. Right? So on my end, everything looked good. But you guys were like, oh no, rip. And then afterwards, just right now it said I just got an alert. But my frames are no longer dropping. What the heck? What is Streamlabs doing? It's like super delayed. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe that's why I'm dropping frames, is because Streamlab doesn't know what the heck is happening and it doesn't know how to connect to the internet. I don't know what's going on. Am I here? Can you guys see? Test, test, test. Also, hi, Steph. Testing, testing. Test, test, test. Yep, okay. You can see me? Okay. I see your tests. Okay. So yeah, I guess I'll try to answer the question again, but did you catch the thing about commercial? So if I'm doing a personal commission, right? They don't typically have permission to go and market it and turn it into merchandise or a product, right? They don't have the rights to do that. I still own all the rights to the image. I can use the image as I want. If I want to, do other things with it, sell prints, whatever, right? Do my own stuff. I hold the rights to do that, right? I'm just essentially taking a request. I will paint them something. They can use it the way they want. There's a huge delay. Dang, that sucks. So yeah, basically, when you're doing a personal commission, it's for personal use, right? It's not for commercial use. So because commercial use comes with the limitations of me being able to do stuff with it, right? Because I'll just make up a situation. Say Disney wanted to commission you, right? They don't want you also selling prints of that, right? Especially not before the product comes out. And they probably don't want you turning around to someone else and also selling it to someone else for merchandise, right? Like, no, they want to own ownership of that so that you can't do anything else with that art, so that they have control of their product, right? Which makes sense. A company should want control of what they put out, right? They don't want you to be releasing random crap to the public that is like, or like, what if you were then to compete with them on their own product? Like that, no, that they don't want that, right? So they're paying you so that you don't do that, right? So that your art is off limits. In some cases, will never be seen by the public, right? And the fewer rights that you'll have to your art, the more that the company needs to pay you. But wouldn't a company Disney pay you? Yes, exactly. And that's why I'm saying commercial work pays more, right? That's specifically why commercial work is good, because most of the time, like, so for Magic the Gathering, Magic obviously has the rights to the work, but they still allow you to say sell your prints and sometimes like playmats. Like, there are things that the artist can still do, which is basically all you would want to do typically anyway, right? Like, most people aren't doing massive projects with their things outside of like maybe putting together art books or selling playmats or prints. And I'm pretty sure you can do all three of those things with Magic the Gathering. So not only are they paying you for the rights to use, so they're paying a lot extra over like a personal commission, but you're also still have the freedom to kind of do the stuff you wanted to do anyway. And that's, to me, where it would be really nice, because then you don't feel like you're, I don't know, like selling your soul. I mean, I think what they call like work for hire, where you do a piece of art, you get a flat fee for it, which I guess Magic the Gathering is technically work for hire because you're not getting royalties. But then it goes into like a black box, right? And it may not even have your name on it, and no one will know who did it, and you can never release it to the public. That would be horrible, right? I would never want to do that. I don't think I would take on a job. I mean, I might if the money was enough, but that feels like it's hard to sort of build up something, right? It's like, oh, once the paycheck comes, you got to do it all over again, because there's no reputation building, there's no portfolio building. Like, a lot of times I've heard of people doing work for hire for like, I don't know, you work for a dentist office or something, or like, you do their little illustrations. You'll go uncredited. They don't, they own the full rights. They pay outright just so that they can own the whole thing. Sometimes, I don't know. I'm sure every place is different. But like sometimes the contracts are just really bizarre and you're like, this is strange, but whatever. It feels more like business, like a business person buying something from you rather than like, an art thing. I don't know. So that stuff feels kind of sketchy. But yeah, I mean, if the money's right, to me that to me feels like a commission, like but it's like a commercial commission, right? It's like, we're gonna pay you some big amount to just have you make us art that the world will never know you made it. It's just gonna be an image we use. And I don't know. I mean, I guess if that's the thing they do, then if they pay good enough, might as well. But I don't know. I also like the idea of retaining the rights to your art, and you can still use it. You can put it in a portfolio. I mean, I've heard of artists who have worked for big companies like Marvel or or Disney or something, where they can't keep their portfolio up to date because all of the work that they've done in the last 2 to 5 years is under NDA, so non-disclosure agreements. So they're all tied up under contracts that say they can't release them. So they literally can't show. So if they're looking for work, they can't even create portfolios that are with their current work, right? They'd have to go and do personal pieces. I don't think that would be a good spot to be in, right? I think that would be, I feel like that kind of ties you down, and it makes it hard to actually go and like seek new opportunities if you can't show your best stuff, right? Here's the stuff that, I mean, because of course you're going to improve and your stuff's going to change, right? Your knowledge and your style, if we want to go on that whole rant. Like there are elements of your art that's going to change, right? And if you can't show that makes it extremely hard. I mean, imagine someone contacts you and you're like, hey, I really like this work that you did 5 years ago. I'd like something like this. And you're like, dude, I don't even know how I did that. I mean, it's like, I don't know which brushes. I don't know the process I used. I don't know if I could replicate it, right? It's like, I could do the skill, right? I can paint a picture that looks good, but is it going to look just like that? I don't know. I mean, sometimes I think if it's like a really like experimental piece or something and you're trying lots of different things, you don't always have, like, not all of your work is going to look the same, especially if you're just, like I said, doing personal projects. So it's nice to have stuff that's current so that you know exactly what you did, that you could replicate it if you need to, right? I mean, isn't that what you want out of commercial stuff? Is somebody says, I like this, make me something like this, and you're like, okay, I can do that. Like, you want that sort of reproducibility. Are the NDAs like, okay, here is a new Marvel comic, I drew this, you're allowed to say this when it's released? Yeah, I mean, it's all there. It's a contract, so oftentimes the terms are negotiable. to some degree. Sometimes they're probably not. I don't know. But yeah, basically, sometimes it'll be like 5 years, or even sometimes it's like if the so I know with like concept work, sometimes if the project isn't released, you can never release it. So there are things like when this project is released, you know, year after, then you can release the images or whatever, or whenever the green light is given. But in some cases, people will never get to release their work without like going back and either breaking NDA, which I don't know how that. I imagine it's expensive, or like going back to the company and be like, hey, you shut down a few years ago because this project was never released. Can I release the work I did for you? And sometimes they'll give you the go ahead, I think, but a lot of times that might not even be an option. It's just your work is literally just like in a black hole, and I think those are the not good situations. But I think that mostly happens with like concept work where it's for something unreleased, right? You're doing like pre-production work, right? And it's the thing hasn't been made, and so you can't release it. So if it never gets made, then you're screwed. But yeah, I think most things that have like release dates, I would imagine in every contract there'll be like, yeah, you can release it, to the public and show the stuff that you did at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be different from company to company, and the specifics are going to vary. Hey Zozo, how are you? Did you have a Mewy Christmas? I did. I did have a good Christmas. It was nice. I saw the family. It was extremely hustly and bustly. all of the bustling. Lots of family, lots of people, lots of food. 2 locations, presents, snow, traveling in the snow. Just good, merry fun, I guess. Bustling, yeah. No, it was nice though. It was a good Christmas. I'm glad it's over though. It's a little too bustling for me, to be honest. Yeah, I am glad it's over. It's too much. I mean, it's technically still not alright. There's still New Year's coming up, and there's still, which New Year's isn't much. I don't really do anything for New Year's, except typically work and then try to stay awake or try to sleep through the fireworks or something. Um, but no, for me, just my birthday and New Year's, and then it's basically back to normal. Valentine's Day, true. Well, as far as stream goes, we do have the Secret Santa sketch exchange coming up on the 7th. So in a couple weeks. Okay, I keep working on this one thumbnail. I've literally done one thumbnail in 50 minutes. We're off to like a new record. You're excited for that? I am too. I am excited. Does anyone not know what that is? Wait, the stream has been live for 14. Dang it, stream. For real? How much have I crashed today? Just the once? Okay. What? I think okay. No, I've been live for 50 minutes. 50, not 15. I realize 50 and 15 can sound pretty similar. But no, I've been live for 50 minutes. I start at the hour every single time I stream, almost without fail. So if it looks different, it's because it's lying. One crash is all you need. Well, it definitely goofs up. So luckily for me, Streamlabs still says 55 minutes, which means I can keep track of how long I like. It's funny. I actually look at that time and not the actual time because I start consistently, so I know that once it hits 4 hours, it's 3. One crash is all you need. But yeah, so anyway, the Secret Santa sketch exchange. If anyone doesn't know what that is, I guess I can explain it. It's pretty straightforward. I think probably everyone here knows what that is. Also, this is, yeah. Anyway, so basically, it'll be on the 7th, which is a Saturday. It's going to be a sketch exchange but it's going to be New Year's themed, so maybe celebration themed. And yeah, so to sign up, you'll just enter your name. We'll pick names randomly, and then whoever's name you get, you will sketch their prompt that they chose, or maybe do your own spin on it, do whatever. And then somebody else will get your name, and they will do a sketch for you. So if you make art, you will get art, or if you get art, you will make art. It's all the same. If you join, you'll get art, and if you join, you'll make art. It's fun for the whole family. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And we've done this a few times. It always goes off pretty well. And yeah, we do them a couple times a year. And New Year's is going to be the next one. I hope you all had a good weekend. I did have a great weekend. How are you doing, Basilisk? I wish I could say the same. Savage. Okay. Zazo had a change of heart real quick after that. It's like, all right, nope, we're good. Going back to the other plan. So yeah, Fish, since you asked, what are your New Year's resolutions? I feel like people hate those questions. But yeah, what are your New Year's resolutions, Fish? A sushi date. I don't like that shape. An ugly, ugly shape. Where are you from? All right, you two. Settle down. Driver's license and job switch. Oh, nice. Well, driver's license, right? I mean, okay. So this is, well, I guess driver's license. That's not a bad one. See, I feel like job switch is good because it's one of those things where it's sort of you don't know when the right thing is going to come along, or you can look, but it may not happen right away, and you don't really know, and you aren't in total control. I feel like driver's license, though, you have quite a bit of control over that, right? Dang. Zozo making all the friends. But yeah, you can totally get your driver's license. I mean, that's just a matter of knowing how to drive, right? You can just study up on the rules and then get the practice in to drive. I don't know. To me, it seems pretty straightforward. I will say though, I think Okay, so I have a story, kind of. My family, so when my older brother, who's the oldest of all the five kids in my family, or of all my siblings, um, him and my older sister, both when they were in high school, and they're like 2 years apart, they had a driving class. It was a class that was part of the school, and they learned to drive with an instructor at school. And then by the end of the course, they would just get their license because they all had learned to drive, right? It's basic. I mean, if you're in a class, it's pretty hard not to get your license, right? Like that's the main thing is just having sort of someone to help teach you or drive with you, right? Like it's making finding the time or an instructor, or if it's a money thing, right? You have to do the work, sign up for the class, go on your drives. But if it's not if there's a lot of like friction for that, I feel like it's really unlikely to happen sometimes. For me, I had to literally beg my dad to help fund driver's education because it wasn't in high school, and I ended up having to, like, I don't know, do work for him every day after school or something for, like, I don't know, a month or something or more. So that he would fund, because it was like $500 or something for this driver's education. And this was back when I was in high school. And so I got my license that way. But then my younger brother and younger sister, who were after me, they didn't have that, right? They I don't know. And again, I had additional pressures, which was my best friend and my neighbor, who was right next door. He was getting his driver's ed. So I was like, he's doing it. I want to do it. I want to take driver's ed too, right? Like, makes sense, right? Your buddies are all getting their driver's license. You want to too. But I think then with like my younger brother and younger sister, they didn't have that, and because it wasn't paid for them, they just never took it. Like what 16-year-old just has $600 or whatever to pay for driver school on their own? Like if your parents aren't doing it for you, you're basically not going to do it. Or 18 or whatever, right? Way cheaper to get it. Yeah, so technically you can get it after you turn 18, I think, just by by taking the test and showing that you can do it. But you still have to learn to drive, which means you need someone who will go on drives with you. That means you have to take someone's time. And yeah, it's cheaper, but you have to have someone who's super committed to help you learn. And I feel like either way it's not convenient, right? It's not a frictionless process. It's not like it's a thing that's offered to people. You have to kind of either have money or people who really want to help you. It's just kind of a weird thing. I learned over the years. Yeah, that's good. But I think a lot of so like anyway, so for me, like my family has like this perfect progression of like my older brother and sister got it early because it was offered and it was easy to do, right? Even free. Then me, I got it a little later. I think I was like 17, maybe almost 18 or something. Um, I got it with a lot more work and like friction involved. And then my younger brother and younger sister never got theirs until I think my younger brother has his now, but they didn't get theirs until way later because there was just so much more friction. It just became worse and worse. And again, some of it's financial, but a lot of it was just how it was offered. And anyway, it was a whole thing. I don't. Why are we ranting? Why am I ranting about driver's ed? I don't know. But anyway, that was a thing. How does it work to get a license in the US? If you just said you just need to take the test, don't you need to take literally driving lessons? So you can technically have a licensed individual teach you to drive, I believe. Um, and you can get like a learner's permit. I think the only thing you have to do to get your learner's permit is to take a written test. So if you can demonstrate that you know the rules of the road, then you can drive. Do you even need a learner's permit or not? I don't even know. But yeah, basically you just need an adult who knows how to drive, and they can be in the car with you, and they can, and they can teach you to drive. Now, hopefully they would know that you know the rules of the road first, but I don't know if there's even that restrictions. I feel like the whole thing is just weird. Like, that shouldn't be allowed. I don't care who you are. You should not be allowed to get into the car with someone who has never demonstrated that they know the rules and they can drive. But somehow that's allowed. How is that legal? You're literally driving with someone who may not even know the basic rules of the road. And it's okay. They're a teacher, I'm not a teacher. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But this random dude who doesn't know how to drive, he can drive as long as I'm there, even though I might be the worst teacher ever. But yeah, as Zozo said, you essentially just need to pass the written test and the driving test. I feel like the written test, honestly, should come first. You should go in and take the written test. Then they should give you like a slip of paper that says you've passed. And then right then you can schedule your drive. And as long as you have that written paper, then you could then you can drive with someone. I feel like it doesn't make sense to me that you could be behind the wheel learning to drive if you don't even know what the basic rules are. That to me is crazy. And I'm pretty sure you can, right? Hey, Kazuke, hold on. Kazu Akalelama. I don't know how to say your name. Kazu. How are you, Kazu? My state allows people to get a driving license the same day given you know how to drive. Yeah, so I think here, if you're over 18, in theory, you could walk in, sign up for a test or whatever, maybe even do the written test the same day and the driving test in the same day, and then just walk out with your license. If you can demonstrate that you can pass the driving test and the written test, then you can get your license. The struggle, though, is actually learning to drive if you're over 18 without a class, right? Because that means somebody has to be in the car with you. You have to go through the motions and actually drive, right? Like I know driving isn't the most difficult skill ever, but I don't believe most people would be able to pass a driving test with literally having never been in a car, right? Or having never driven, right? There are things like, the ease of turning and just simple things, braking and stopping and starting, accelerating at I don't know, like you have to have some experience, right? Even if it's extremely small. You could probably, if you were on like a country road, sure, you could figure it out, right? And you could get from point A to point B without dying probably. But if you're going to be actually navigating like turns and getting on and off the highway, like you pretty much do need to drive first. Anyway. So yeah, you have to have someone pretty much to be willing to put themselves in the situation where you don't know what you're doing and they're working with you. Written first, then 3-month minimum practice period. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Why is it not like that here? That's literally the thing I was just saying. You should go in and take your written, prove that you know the basic rules. Then they should say, come back once you've actually driven on the road, and then we'll test you. But you can't drive on the road before you at least can demonstrate that you know the rules, right? That should be a minimum. But what about practicability? I'm so confused. In Germany, you need to take 12 to 14 lessons. So the driving test is to demonstrate that you know all of those practical abilities. That's what the driving test part is for. But yeah, true. We don't learn to drive at night and all that stuff, and that's true. That should be a thing. Actually, no. Well, yeah. So when I did my driving school, because I did do a driving school, right? My dad paid for lessons when I was in my teens, and we did have night drives. So we did all that. We didn't do like snow driving or anything. Thanks, it's Kazu. Yeah, Kazu's okay. I painted some landscapes last year. Hope I will learn and keep. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask because I realize right now I'm ranting about driving, which has nothing to do with art. So if you're just coming into the stream for the first time, feel free to change the topic. We are just talking about the silliness of the US driving thing and how you can apparently practice to drive with someone who isn't a good teacher before you've even demonstrated that you know the general rules of the road. Like, that to me is just bizarre. I don't get how that's even legal. It's like, oh, but you're 18. I guess what? Are they just thinking that if you screw up, you're an adult so they can charge you? Is that the idea? Like, if you suck at driving, they'll just throw the book at you because you're an adult? Is that the mindset? Like, don't screw up. I feel like that has to be the thing, right? I don't know. I'm not sure what the mindset there is. But yeah, also, Kazu, if you'd like to share any art that you've done, I would love to see. And I'm kind of just doodling stuff. I don't even know what I'm painting, to be honest. Today's sort of a lazy recovery day from yesterday. Obviously, when one turns 18, the knowledge of all the driving... Well, yeah, the knowledge of all the driving rules is automatically downloaded into their brain. I think so. That must be what they think. Or, I mean, I still think that maybe it's like, it's a money-hungry system, and they are okay with people who don't know how to drive on the road because they can ticket them. Like, look at all these suckers giving us free money because they're not driving. Like, they don't... I don't think there clearly isn't the thought of like safety, right? I don't know. Or maybe me and Zozo are wrong about the driving rules and this is actually not how it is because it sounds too ridiculous to actually be a thing. But I'm pretty sure that is how it is. Anyway. I'm just making some shapes right now. My guess is convenience and money. I know, but I mean literally a reordering of the test. So like, okay, there are two requirements that you have to meet, right? To get your test. Even if you're an adult, right? No matter what. You have to be able to pass your written. And then there's the driving test, right? Driving. These are two tests, right? Right now, you can practice right here, right? This is a timeline going down, right? So you can practice. Technically, you need 3 things, right? What it should be, instead of this order, with 1, let's do this. Instead of 1, 2, and 3, whoops, and this is, right? Instead of this order, right, you have to do these 3 things. It should be, you should switch these, right? This should be over here, and this should be over here. And now you have a system that works. Same 3 requirements. You just now have to take the written before you practice. Done. Problem solved. I have solved the crappy driving system by literally replacing the 2 steps. And nothing has changed for anyone other than, I guess technically people have to now go into the DMV. But no, you can take it online. Like, just allow them to at least take it online, right? I think that's all. No, but in America, I don't even know. Can you take the written online? God, I hope you can. Maybe if and here's a even better thing to reduce friction, right? Because you can take it online, right? Now there's the problem with what if they cheat? Okay? Fair enough. If you take it online, when you go to take your driving test, you'll have to take it again in person. That's fine, whatever. Then you can just, whip out, just whip out your knowledge and just, ace the test because you've already done the thing, right? And then, so now you can do your written online or in person, right? Online. That's a terrible font. I don't know why I'm talking about driving so much today. Right? So you should have to take it in person no matter what. But this should be able to come before, you should also be able to do this one here if you've done this one first. But as long as you take one of these, you should, before practicing, then you should be good, right? I feel like that system is extremely basic. This is the system in Germany? Yeah, it should be. It should be the system anywhere if they aren't requiring schooling, right? Now, of course, normally, right, if you're getting it in your teens or you're taking a driving school, right? Driving school has all of the practice, the written, right? They're not going to have you do something that you don't understand the rules for. So it kind of just packages it up and makes it easy. But anyway, I don't understand why you wouldn't just switch them. Yeah, I mean, it's logical. It's literally, here's a system that you can do this dangerous thing once you demonstrate that you know how to do it not dangerously, and then you can practice. And still a little bit dangerous, but not as dangerous as the American way, which just clearly doesn't care about the other people on the road. I should be a policymaker, clearly, because I know my... No, just kidding. That would be not a thing for me. Actually, I feel like in a different life, I would actually like that. I do like trying to... No, actually, I don't. I think there's way too much politics. That would be horrible. Joe for president. Literally. You realize his name is Joe, right? How are you, Grove Nunder? We are both Joes. Joe is literally the president of the United States. But yeah, how are you, Grove Dunder and everyone else? Or Grove Nunder? I keep saying people's names right. In France, you learn and practice at the same time. See, I think that's okay if you're doing it with an instructor who actually knows how to teach and has a car that has a brake pedal, right? In the US, driving instructors will have cars where they actually have a second brake pedal. So if you're doing something really dangerous, they can slam on the brakes for you. Right? So that their life is in their control. They have some control over the situation. I think that's fine, right? If you are a trained instructor and know what you're doing and you have taught people for a long time, I feel if you are willing to get into the car with someone, that's your judgment. And I think if you're a trained instructor, why not? If you think that the student is good enough and they know their stuff, then by all means do it, right? Even if you don't know what you're doing. But I think for everyone else, you absolutely should have to demonstrate that you know the basic rules of the road, like what a stop sign looks like, right? Just simple stuff, before you can drive on the road with other people, right? It's not a matter of you, it's a matter of the other people. Anyway. Whatever. But yeah, anyway, hope everyone is doing well. Okay, let's add in some shadows. What am I doing here? Gonna add in some blue. Let's just do an airbrush. Today's a weird day for painting. Again, I'm really tired, or I was tired. I don't feel tired, but I know I am. Okay, what else do I want to do here? Just painting some rocks and stuff. Joe's trying to change topics. Hope everyone is doing well. I am. That's kind of my go-to. Also, like, what is everyone working on today? Would you like to share any art? I would love to see some art. That's also one of my go-tos. I'm spoiling all my secrets. People are gonna catch on. Doing well. How am I doing? I'm doing well. Thanksgiving was good. Christmas was good too, and Thanksgiving. Yeah, Christmas was good. I feel like my throat is maybe trying to fight off some sickness or something. Probably just being around a ton of people. These rocks would not be balanced here. Let's do some, there we go. These rocks could be balanced. And we need some bluish on top because it would make no sense to have anything but that blue light shining down. I mean, we could have non-blue light shining down, but yeah. And let's get some direct sunlight in there, right? That's what we need. So direct sunlight. We need some, maybe there's some rocks. Where's the direct sunlight going to come in from? Maybe the back side or front side? I don't know. You know, a lighting scenario I almost never do is stuff being lit from the front. Like, I'll do side lighting, like lighting from the side or lighting from the back, which, you know, comes out like this way. But I almost never do, like, the light behind me. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that right now. So what if I do this? Light from behind me, but you can see a person in the shadow. Like, because the camera person is casting a shadow. And maybe there's, like, trees and other stuff. I feel like this is a really unusual... an unusual color thing, right? This is not normal. Shared some thumbnails, feeling sick, or feeling stuck. Oh, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let me just scribble in some light colors here to get some colors on the page that are not terrible. And why not? We'll put some stuff. Oh, wait, no, we can't do that. Oh, that wouldn't make any sense. You know, I know why I don't ever see paintings like this, because having just light shining at like a wall or something, it just looks really stupid. Also, this is going to be a hard thing to pull off. I'm not sure what I want to do here. I mean, I guess we can put some darker values in here. I don't know. I gotta think about this one. But while I do that, let me take a look at Discord. All right, Discord, show me your stuff. All right, we are going to art. Oh, Vana, I like them. I like them a lot. These are great. These are absolutely fantastic. When you say you're feeling stuck, what do you feel like you're stuck with? I like them. I think they're great. I think that they... Yeah, actually, I just want to know more about what you're feeling stuck with, because I like them. I will say I think they are, you know, at some point you could sort of go to the next step or next level. Like, you know, obviously right now you're using, you know, I have no idea how to. Okay, so I have two suggestions. One is more of an exercise of how you could pick one and build up from it, and the other is how you could do more sort of complex thumbnails. So the first way, and what one is kind of more practice in perspective, right? And adding in like a ground plane, which you can't really add them into your current ones because of the. I mean, you maybe could, but so right now your perspective kind of makes it look like the ground is like we're almost below the ground, if that makes sense. Like you kind of have things like a hill here or something. Let's see. Oh, sorry. See, and then you just have shapes on shapes, kind of. Oops. And then you have like a lighter shape back here. So you don't have much of a ground plane. And because you don't have a ground plane, it kind of just looks like everything is sort of directly behind one another, which is fine, but it doesn't give you a lot of like room to work with for depth and perspective, right? Because you don't have anything on the ground, right? It's just kind of these lines. So option number one, which is fine, right? It's perfectly fine to paint paintings like that. I think they look great. I think someone who does this a lot, like Chlor does that quite a bit, right? Where she'll layer things up in such a way that you're basically just getting some cool objects in here. You know, maybe there's an overlapping one here or something, right? And then, you know, maybe you'll focus on the sky, right? And that's kind of your painting, right? You have these objects back here, but maybe these are smaller. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think the next step here, though, would be to do just like some intermediate values and textures. So like, for example, if I'm color, so right now I have the dark color on my picker, right? And I realize this is not a great thumbnail or by any means, right? It's just random shapes. But just, you know, bear with me. Actually, hold on. I am going to add a slight ground plane just so it makes it a little more simple to explain what I'm talking about. Okay. So here's something, right? Okay. So let's say this is where you are, right? You're stuck. You actually have better colors than I do, right? Because I don't really have colors in this, but you get the point. What I would recommend, the next step, is just so you have your dark color, start with your dark stuff, take your light color, like the next step, and just very lightly with like an airbrush, or you could take it and manually bring it a little lighter, but don't bring it too light, right? This is why I like to take the next step, and very, very light. Don't go full pressure, right? We're not going like this, right? We don't want that light, we just want very, very light. And use this as like a new color for like, you know, maybe you have a tiny bit more ambient light, right? Maybe there's some rock textures. I think, and these could be any color, right? You don't have to stick with a lighter color than, like it doesn't, if you had red here, you could bring in yellow, right? Like a light yellow, right? That's fine too, right? You could bring in, you know, if you have a sky color, you know, it might make sense to make it an ambient color. I do an ambient light personally, right? If you have a bright blue sky back here, right? Then take a extremely light blue, right? You don't, again, you want it darker than this color, right? It's darker than this, but it's lighter than this. So you can come in here and add in some ambient light, right? You can shine in, this blue light is shining down, right? So that would be a next step for me. And then you can kind of repeat the process, right? And you can practice doing some, you know, detailing the rocks a little bit, or just adding some textures, right? And then the next step, same thing here, right? You grab a lighter color, go extremely light, right? Again, it's still darker than this, right? It's darker than the background, but it's just one tiny little step, and maybe a little bluer or something. And then you can start rendering these, and not rendering, right? You're not doing a lot of detail. You're just putting in some additional shapes, right? Same thing here. Right? You don't have to do this in the background ones because they are gonna, you know, that's atmospheric perspective for you. They're not gonna be, you're not gonna see as much detail. technically you could, right? There's nothing wrong with adding some light or whatever, or some additional ambient light. That would be my recommendation for the next step. This is also where you can really start exploring shapes of your objects and textures, right? Like different rock formations, or I mean, if you have like a tree, I wouldn't recommend come in here and do like the bark. Like that's not necessary. But this is where you could put like an additional ambient light on things. Like take your blue sky and the tops of the rocks, right? Just very, very lightly, right? You get the top of the rock. If you have a tree, maybe one side is slightly more blue than the other, or it has a little bit more ambient light on one side than the other, right? This is where you just start to very lightly describe the form with ambient light, right? So that's what I recommend. So that's the first thing. The second way you could go is to just do more of those thumbnails, but this time focus on a bit more of a ground plane. So instead of just having shapes emerging from behind your one ground, you start to add a little bit more of a ground and start to play with perspective, right? So maybe this shape goes back, right? And then you have another, maybe you have some mountains, right? And then you have another shape that comes this way. And this is also, and again, if you kind of mix these two things, right? You mix this thing we just talked about with the ambient light. This is also where you can do things like add in roads or other stuff. Like if you're just painting, it's not a bad, right? This is where you can focus on, draw some perspective lines in here. And you can start to sort of get this ground plane, right? You still have these gaps, right? You still have these lines, and you can do whatever you want in these lines, right? You can still add your hills, right? You can still do all that. But now the difference is you have a little bit of depth, right? You have this thing going on, right? And back here, again, kind of the same, right? Maybe this one is shorter. This is where you're starting to practice with your space. So, if you were to measure the green line, this green line is getting shorter, right? And putting less space between here because now I'm trying to imply depth, right? So this is an exercise in perspective, and this is an exercise in sort of adding some form to your shapes. So I think you can go to either of those steps, and I think both of those are good things to practice. And I don't think technically you could practice them at the same time, right? Like I did here on the ground. You could also add some lights up here or whatever, right? You could kind of practice, but I would do one of those two, because right now your shapes are kind of popping out of nowhere, I guess, like behind the hill. So it almost looks like you're looking up and you can't actually see the ground, which is fine. But I think if you want to do more complex thumbnails, it can help to start to add some ground plane, right? Or conversely, you could even add a ceiling plane, right? If you want to look up the sky, maybe there's something, maybe you're under some rocks and, right, you still have your atmospheric perspective, right? Maybe we're looking up at something, right? And you could just kind of invert this, right? It doesn't have to be a ground plane, right? And you could kind of do the same thing here, right? These are right, kind of in perspective. I don't know what that would be. It could be clouds. I mean, and this is kind of how clouds work, right? But, it could even be just like a large rock structure that sits up here and, goes off into the distance or something. Like it could be lots of things, right? But yeah, so one of them focuses more on perspective and the other focuses more on ambient light. And again, both I think are important if you are painting the way I am painting. There's an artist who had a painting kind of like this one. Kinda. A little bit of backlighting. I'm gonna go slightly pink. I don't remember his name, but anyway. Yeah, I would do either. I mean, if you wanted to practice this though, which is like adding some form, and this is also, and if this is hard to add, like just to imply some form, another thing would be to just work on your simple forms, right? Things like spheres and stuff, and you know, taking a, that's not a sphere, I realize, like taking a ball, right, or a sphere and lighting it from the top, right? That would be like taking this blue light. Or actually, let's do this. Hold on. Right, like here's a sphere, right? Taking that blue light from the sky that's shining down, lighting the top of it. Right? That's where this kind of thing is really useful, because you're basically just implying form by the patterns and shapes that you put on your objects, right? If you want a bunch of little rocks, you can do that. Right? You could just line them all up. Heck, you could even have a big one in the foreground. Right? If we really wanted, you could put some light on the top of that. So that's what this is, right? This is just rendering forms. You're taking simple shapes and giving them a bit of actually, let's use this as a thumbnail. We're just gonna keep going with this. I'm liking this. But yeah, that's kind of the two things, right? And this one doesn't have much of a ground plane, and that's fine. It's okay to have things where you're just looking up at objects. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, these colors started out as grayscale, so it doesn't look great. Skittle, thanks for the redeem. Also, whoa, wait, what just... Oh, I didn't see... Lifelink Lotta. I didn't see you follow. Thank you for the follow an hour ago. Matza, how are you? My thingy was scrolled down, so I couldn't see. Anyway. So yeah, 5-minute thumbnail. Sure. Let's do this. Today is a very ranty day. But, oops. Sorry, my screen flickered. I apologize. Let's open up the 5-minute thumbnail thing. Let's go to that. Just click start timer. All right, so let me start the timer in just a moment. All right, 3, 2, 1. Wait, nope. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Worst countdown ever, not 1 second apart. But, all right, so I am going to start similar to how I just did here. But what I'm going to do is use, again, different types of forms. I'm going to start kind of yellow, or start kind of green, kind of yellow-green. Maybe some blues, because I've been in a blue. I really like blues and greens. They look nice. Maybe not that color of blue, though. There we go. And again, I'm just layering up values, just like I did in those first thumbnails. But this time, and I do a little bit of like, you know, adding in additional things. So like, you know, that blue, if I wanted rocks or something. But I'm also using different colors maybe, right? Maybe I want some yellow or something. I don't know. Actually, I'm just thinking about shape right now. Not very well, though, because the shape isn't very good. Let's see. Okay, so we just have blue and green. Let's get some blue in the foreground, though, because I didn't have any blue there. have some trees. I don't want to do goalposts, so oops, let's do this thinner. Something that I don't do much of, which is these just straight tall trees. Do you use reference for these exercises? No, so not right now. Right now, I am just sketching from imagination, and if I have an idea, say I want to, I don't know, put some light across here, right? And we'll put some light in here or something. Maybe that would be weird. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a little bit of light. If I have a very specific idea, like, I'm going to paint I don't know, some sort of cathedral or something. I don't like that second. Oops. If I'm going to paint a very specific thing, then I will go and find references before I start rendering it. Like, basically, how, I'm not going to be able to, let's say I wanted to add a motorcycle or something, right? I don't know what a motorcycle looks like. I could block one in right now, right? I could be like, oh, here's a motorcycle. We put the handlebars and the wheel and like, okay, whatever. This is going to be the placeholder for our motorcycle, whatever, right? But at some point, I will go and get references if I need to draw this thing. But for these little sketches, you don't really need to know how to draw this stuff, right? You just need to know the basic shapes. I'm not drawing the forms, right? I'm just painting in shapes and silhouettes and sometimes there's forms that I'm painting in. But yeah, I'm just doing things like, trying to put in some light here, which is kind of fun. Maybe these things are like, I don't know, bamboo. I don't know, it could be. Maybe there's something, I don't know, maybe there's, I kind of like the idea that there's some green here. But yeah, for this stuff, I'm definitely not using references. But yeah, not in this stage. But again, it doesn't matter if you do. I mean, it's good to use references for sure. But I find that if I use, so maybe if this is just the way my brain works, and I'm going to use the word cheating here, and obviously references are not cheating, but I have a bad habit of overusing the reference for something that I didn't want to overuse the reference in the first place. Like, oh, also you can't see the timer. Oh, I have 13 seconds left. Whoops. Anyway, I have 10 seconds left. You guys, so for example, so oftentimes if I start, let's say I want to paint a skyscraper, and then I find a cool picture of a skyscraper as my reference, I am inclined to overcopy the reference or overuse it, and that wasn't my intention, right? I wanted to just come up with an idea. So I would rather often, again, it really depends on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But oftentimes I will want to come up with an idea, a color palette, a composition first. I can have sort of placeholder things, and I'm okay with reworking the design once I go and find the references, right? So like, for example, let's say I'm like, this looks like a bamboo forest, right? I want to paint a bamboo forest. If I go and find bamboo and realize that this looks nothing like bamboo, I'm okay with reworking it, right? I've already come up with this idea, quote unquote, on my own, right? Obviously, bamboo exists. I didn't invent it, but, maybe my idea is a little more robust, right? Maybe I put a story. Maybe there's these things up top that are, these little houses that are up in the bamboo, like a little, jungle village or something, right? I don't know. That would be kind of cool. So let's just say we have this little jungle village. There might be things that exist like this. But I didn't know of them, right? And even if I did, I don't have a perfect memory. So I sometimes like to invent things, right? I can invent the composition. I can invent the mood. There's a lot of things I can invent on my own. And I like to do that before I hit the references. And if the references tell me that this is not how you paint bamboo, I'm okay with reworking it, right? This sketch is for the idea. It's not for the execution, right? This is not a design sketch. This is purely an idea. So that's what I try to use them for. Brett, how are you? Wait, wow, way to be consistent. Hello. Howdy, howdy. King Cinder, how are you? Long time no see. A ranty day is a good day. It is. Well, it typically is an indication that it's a tired day. I rant when I'm tired. Either that or I just shut up and I'm totally silent and like hide in a corner. But obviously on stream, I don't really get that second option, so I tend to just be ranty. Also, when I get tired, I get super irritated at stupid stuff. Like, I have a low tolerance for misunderstand. Like, I always like to make myself understood to some degree. And normally, if somebody isn't understanding what I'm saying, I am okay with that. Like, it's kind of a mini puzzle, if you will. Like, oh, maybe I can explain it a different way, or maybe I can ask a question, figure out where the. When I'm tired, I just get frustrated. I have a low threshold. Like, I don't know. I kind of lose my patience a little bit. I think I don't get like angry. I just get annoyed, kind of like I don't know how to communicate this, and I want to, but I can't because I'm tired, and it stresses me out. It's mood concept as opposed to design. Exactly, yeah, exactly. Reads. It's a mood concept. It's a mood piece. It's a and I just call them idea sketches because on stream I don't even know the idea, and that's what I'm figuring out more than anything. If I think that this image, sometimes I'll even do things like, I will take a little sketch that I just did. I will, copy it. And I might say, I like this sketch, but maybe I don't like the mood as I always associate mood with color, right? Obviously, there's other things that indicate a mood than just the color, right? You can have shape and design and composition and all that. But I oftentimes, when I think of mood, I'll not use them synonymously, but there is an overlap. So I might say, let's just change up the mood. Let's make this a gloomy nighttime scene. Ooh, that's cool. This pink almost makes me think of like the sun coming through. So what if I were to take this and add like a lighting? What if we did like a soft light, like a orange or something up here? Oh, that's not gonna work. Maybe not a soft light. Soft light sucks. Hard light. That hard light? Really? That's not hard light, that's just an opaque layer. What's going on? Maybe I don't know how hard light works. Okay, let's not do that either. Let's do color glow dodge. But I don't know. But sometimes I have an idea that I can change, if I just change the things in the right way. Actually, I do have an idea for this. Far Cry Blood Dragon. Oh, I don't know anything about Far Cry. It took me a second to know what that even meant. But yeah, sometimes I'll have like a composition or I'll get the idea down, but then I'm like, what if I change it and just change the vibe of the painting? And I'll keep painting on it. Where the idea might stay the same, but I'm gonna change the vibe of the painting, right? Maybe I make it darker, maybe I make this stuff bluer, right? Maybe there's like a fog coming down and we're in like a valley, but the sun somehow doesn't even get in here really, right? Maybe this is no longer direct sunlight, right? Maybe I'm just gonna bring this all bluer and darker, right? We get some of these dark purples and colors. Let's just go like this. It's super simple. I don't know if I want 3 there. Maybe we'll go 1 like that. Okay, so now we have a different vibe, but I think I want the sun, like some sunny stuff coming in. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of gray in here because I'm going to color dodge it, and color dodge likes gray. Or it likes color that can be both made brighter and saturated. So let's come in here with some color dodge or glow dodge. Take an orange and an airbrush, and let's just brighten this right back up with a nice orange or pink. So yeah, maybe I do something like that, right? It's like, okay, well, here's a thing that I did. Again, do I like this more? Do I like this less? I don't know. It's something, right? And sometimes that's enough to sort of get my brain thinking in different terms. Kath, how are you? Oh, thank you for the... Thank you, Kath. I appreciate it. Kath, how was your Christmas? Merry Christmas, everyone. Or Merry late Christmas and holidays and New Year's and new holidays and all this stuff. Hope you're all doing well. Also, I don't like those colors. I do like this though, actually. I like these weird blues and green things. It doesn't have that vibe of like houses or buildings up here, which I actually feel like I can totally pull off. Your brother got me a nice watercolors. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Did you get any presents? Were you a good boy? I did get some presents. Yes, I got an air fryer slash oven. What do you call it? Like a toaster oven slash air fryer. It does both, which is really cool because I've been asking for like a toaster oven for a while, and getting an air fryer is also nice. I don't know anything about air fryers, but yeah. So that's cool. So I'll get to eat some tasty food. Let's see. I got lots of candies, some food stuff. Yeah, candies and foods and all sorts of little treats and things. What else did I get? I'd have to think. I got some socks. I always like socks. It's one of those things. I'm a big fan of getting socks for Christmas. I think that's about it. I might be missing something. I think that's it. Which is a lot. I don't want to sound ungrateful. It's amazing. Yeah, it was great. I had a lot of fun. Good time with the family. Maybe I'm getting sick. I hope not. My voice. Maybe I just talked a lot yesterday. Oh, so it's not a present. There was a cool game we played. Oh gosh. Oh, I'm gonna text my brother right now because I want to know the name of that game. I thought it was a really cool game. It was like we were merchants or something, and we were trying to accumulate like a little bit of wealth with like precious gems. It's kind of like a fantasy game, and then there's like these nobles who can like you basically accumulate points. By each turn you have like a choice of a few actions. You can like take 3 gems or 2 gems of the same color or of the same type, or one gem that can represent anything like a wild card, and you're kind of trying to accumulate. You're trying to buy these other like more precious stones or whatever with these cards, or with the not cards, with these little tokens. I don't know the name of this, but it was a really cool game. And you're basically trying to exchange them, and you have to accumulate certain amounts, but you can't go past like a certain number of coins, so you have to sort of like trade in for some other things. And you're sort of trying to exchange, and there's random elements because the cards that you're buying, they're randomized, and so you can like cut people out of certain supplies, and you can like make decisions to screw people over, or you can take some risky plays. So it's kind of it's a lot of fun. Let me send a text though, because it's weird. Like, also it had pretty cool cover art. All right. What was the name of that game we played yesterday? The one with the gems. There we go. We'll see if he replies, and then I'll let you guys know. But anyway, it was a pretty cool game. I recommend it. It was fun. I only played it once, but yeah, it seems like a cool game. I don't know if you guys are into games. I'm not a huge game person. Some games, I feel like there's some games, and this was one where it maybe has like, sometimes some games like this are a little off-putting because there's sort of like a burden of like knowledge. Like, you have to like learn the game really quick, and there's like all these rules. What was the name again? I don't know. I just texted my brother to find out. Oh, he hasn't replied, but if he replies, I'll let you know. Hey, Elise, how are you? So yeah, if he replies, I'll let you know. But it was a pretty fun game. I liked it. But it did seem like it had a little bit like of how do I describe it? Because you're making choices and you're kind of trying to work within sort of these very like there's like four simple rules essentially, and you're kind of trying to navigate within the rules. And the game tells you what the rules are, but it doesn't always tell you what you can't do. So sometimes there is a little confusion, like, is this even allowed? But it does say it in the rules. But it's kind of hard if you're beginning to remember the exceptions. Like if you say you want to take 2 tokens, or say you want 3 tokens, but there's only 2, can you still take them? Well, yeah, you can take the 2, right? You don't have to take 3. Things like that, and it makes sense when you read the rules, but when there's like 4 people who've never played before, and you're like, what the heck what am I doing? So there is a little bit of confusion, but I think that goes for just about any game. I don't think that's unique to this game. It's sort of just there's a slight burden of, read the rules, and it's hard to, if everyone sits down to play and no one knows how to play, and one person is trying to read the rules and figure it out, it can be kind of annoying. So it's good to like figure it out either on yourself, probably by yourself, or with one person. But yeah, anyway, I'll get the name of the game. It was pretty fun. Watch I get the name of this game, and then somebody's gonna Google it, and it's gonna have like terrible reviews, and people are like, this game is terrible, or something. No, I don't know. Well, he's not messaging me. Maybe he's probably working, actually. So maybe I won't even... You guys probably won't get to know the name of the game today. He's probably working. Do I know the game Dixit? Nope, never heard of it. Never heard of it. Read the manual is rule number 1. I know, but my point is that this game has like... It's oftentimes one person will know the rules of a game, right? and they can explain it pretty well. But I feel like there's enough complexity, and maybe it's just me, but whenever there's a game where there's strategy, the second I hear a rule, I start to think, what are the limitations of this rule, right? What will this rule look like in the actual game? And then there's all these like exceptions and things that can, like what happens in this situation, right? And sometimes the answer isn't right there in the rule book. It might be it might relate to a different rule, right? So sometimes it could be hard. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those games where I guess each player would have. I don't know. It wasn't that bad. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I feel like it took us a good 20 minutes before everyone kind of knew what the heck they were doing. Which I guess maybe isn't bad when you have 4 people sit down to play a game they've never played before. I don't know. Ooh, let's do like a 1-point perspective. I also don't play that many games, so like it's probably another thing is that it's hard to like relate game knowledge to me because I don't know that much about games. So yeah, I'm not like super sensitive to this information, right? Sometimes in certain things, like I'm pretty good at picking things up because I have experience in other areas that kind of relate. Ooh, and this can go down. Ooh, I'm having an idea. Getting an idea right here. There we go. That's something. Got a lurk now. Thumbnails are looking really great already. Love number 6 especially. Thank you, Kath. So yeah, what is Dixit? I've never heard of that game. It's a beautiful artsy game. That doesn't tell me much. That doesn't tell me much, but that's okay. Is it like a card game? What sort of game? Deathman, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Okay, let's bring in some warmth. Good. How's the stream going? I think it's going pretty well. I kind of crashed earlier or something, and everyone, I don't know. The stream was interrupted, so I had an issue earlier, but I think now it's going well. I've been pretty ranty. I've been kind of tired. I'm not really. I don't feel tired, but I know I am tired because I have only had like 6 hours of interrupted sleep. So two sessions of 3-hour sleeps in the last, I don't know, 30 hours. So like it's not good. Because I worked really late this morning. I worked at 3 a.m. and I got back to my place at like 9:30 or 10 and from Christmas, and then I didn't even sleep that well when I did lay down to sleep, so I had like 3 hours of sleep. And then I had to take a quick nap when I got home from work before stream. But anyway, here I am. I feel pretty good, but I do get a bit ranty, which honestly, maybe I should start doing this. Maybe I should start sleep depriving myself so I'm more ranty during the stream. Kazu, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. But also, we've been way off base on like the conversation topics. I have not been talking about art that much, which is unfortunate because I want to be talking about art. I had one good art rant. No, I know I'm not gonna actually sleep deprive myself, but I will say there is an element of like I sort of like the way that I communicate when I'm tired, as strange as that is. At least on stream, I don't like it in person, but I think it's not terrible on stream. Maybe it's just crappier quality all around and everybody except for me notices because I'm tired. What I need to do is like compare a stream when I'm tired to the stream when I'm not tired when I'm not tired. So I can just compare it when I'm not tired. That way I'm making that judgment call with a sound mind. Because maybe I'm just sort of too caught up in the tiredness to even know that. Anyway, I don't know. We'll have to see. It'll be an experiment. Okay, so this is a interesting thing. I kind of like the shapes. But the question is, what is it? Like, what is this environment? Because I don't know. Alright, I want to do a couple more thumbnails, or at least one more. But I do like this. Maybe, you know what? Hold on, I do have an idea. Okay, so we have like a progression. Okay, we have to put like a building out here. Or something. Some sort of structure. And this is another structure, but it's further away. Slightly further away. Ever so slightly further away. Not actually much further. Thank you for the follow, IP. How are you? Okay, so that's something. Okay. So is being tired more about being relaxed and uninhibited by intrusive thoughts? Maybe. No, I think it's more having to do with getting sidetracked. Maybe. Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I'd have to think about that. I mean, intrusive thoughts, not in a negative sense. Like, thinking about... Yeah, I mean, some of it's probably... No, I don't know. It's really hard. That's a hard thing to say yes or no to. Because I think there is an element of sort of thinking through something, and I don't know if you'd call that an intrusive thought, that is a good thing. And I feel like it can be used for like self-reflection and improvement. There's a lot of times where I think it's really good. Or take for the example, say you're a new streamer, right? You would not want to be on autopilot, right? So I feel like there is an element of autopilot, right, when I'm tired that I don't have when I'm not tired. However, autopilot is only good sometimes, right? If you're in a new situation, right, something crazy happens on stream and you have to react to it, I want to be alert, right? I want to be knowing what I can do. I can problem solve on stream. I am not a good problem solver when I'm tired, right? I can communicate if someone asks me a question that I know the answer to, like, how do you, what would you recommend to a beginner who wanted to do environments, right? I can answer that question. I've answered it before. It's just literally a matter of saying the words, right? I can do that when I'm tired, but I can't do big problem solving things. So on one hand, the art suffers typically a little bit. But I think the speaking is a little bit easier, maybe. I don't know. It's complicated. I think there's pros and cons to it, right? It's not all upside or all downside. Hey, Yuki Draws, how are you? I'm good. Your art is beautiful. Oh, thank you. Okay. Desmond, you said, oh, thank you for say the word, Joe. Thank you for the hello, Lise. Thank you for the follow, Yuki Draws. Hope you're doing well. And hi, Yuki. Did I just say thank you before you followed? I think I did. Sorry. I did not mean to, like, try to get you to follow by saying that. What I meant is hello. Hope you're doing well. And now thank you. Okay, Desmond said, the gist of Dixit is that every person has a bunch of cards with abstractish art. Then one person describes one of them, and then the other person have to pick the card that matches the description from their hand. And then all cards are mixed, and everybody is trying to guess what is original card. Oh, the point of the person that describes is to describe the card, not too detailed so everybody picks a card, but point of people who listens to descriptions get their card picked. Oh, I think I get it. Joe, you're so tired. I mean, I'm kind of tired. I don't know. I probably. No, I follow you because I like your work. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. All right, one more thumbnail before... Well, okay, we have to do away with this one because that is the same as this one, just worse. Okay, what if we have a waterfall coming down here? All the water. Maybe not. Maybe. Let's see. Waterfall. I'm not sure why I'm painting so light. This is going to look terrible. Maybe there's like a little alcove, not an alcove. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm just going to go like this. So I'm normally not such a lasso tool user, but I do like my lasso tool. And I think they're quite nice for blocking in shapes, blocking in ground planes. Actually, I think they're especially... I am a huge fan of lasso tool for blocking in ground planes. Also, I like this blue. Maybe I can put some trees here. Trees. Something like that. That's fun. Okay, now I need some background because I need the overlapping shapes. What are you working on? I see some thumbs, colored thumb. Yes, little idea sketches or mood pieces or whatever you want to call it. Basically, I'm coming up with ideas that I want to work, for something to work on. And that's about it. Then we're going to pick one of them in about 5 minutes, and I will work on it until the end of stream. And hopefully it will turn into a painting that doesn't suck. You seem to be using more rigid shapes today. I like it. Maybe it's the tiredness. I think there is so okay, did I say that my paintings are better when I'm tired? So I think there is an element of me going back to like habits and sort of the thing that I know works when I'm tired. Whereas when I'm not tired, I'm more explorative. I'm trying new things. I'm thinking through things a bit more. But it also has the downside of maybe making stuff really suck, right? Like it might be good, it might not. But I'm also kind of trying to learn in the process. When I'm tired, I'm not really trying to learn, right? I'm more just trying to make something that isn't totally terrible. But I don't know. That's not totally true today because I am also exploring. I don't know. There's always an element of exploration. Anyway. But yeah, no, I like rigid shapes. Anyway, I like this. There's something nice to this. But I feel like we can get some yellows or something in here. It's like me when I'm sad, my work is on another level. Oh no, I don't like that. I don't think I would paint if I'm not feeling good. I don't know. I definitely paint better when I'm in a good mood. For sure. I feel like it's miles. That's not even a measurement of... I was going to say it's miles better. It's not a measurement of quality. It's just way better when I'm in a good mood. If I'm feeling like crap, my art suffers 100%. So I'm not a big subscriber of like, being in a bad mood, having a sucky time is better for art. I don't like that. I think I guess if it's true for some people, it's true for some people, but I don't know. I feel like there's always, maybe not always. I'm tempted to say that when that happens, it's like you're getting into a place where you can do art, but it's not necessarily the sadness or the stressful life that does it, right? It's like it's certainly like not a motivator, but like it's a thing that's pushing you, right? And it pushes you, if it pushes you into a place where you can get into the zone to do good art, that's great. But I don't think it's the only way to get that push, right? I think there's ways you might have to work a little harder to engineer a situation where you can be in, have those motivators to do good art or be in the right circumstances, you know, like if, for example, if when you're in a good mood, you always want to hang out with people, right? Obviously, you're not going to be doing art if you're always hanging out with people. So if the only time that you ever actually really sit down to do art is when you're, feeling like crap and want to be alone, well then, yeah. But there's also ways to force yourself to be alone when you're not in a crappy mood too, right? That's one extremely simplified example. But I do sometimes feel like people use sort of hardship and depression or being in a bad mood as sort of a like, oh, you do better art when you're. I'm not sure I totally buy it. I feel like there's a few factors going on, but again, if it works for you, it works for you. But just I don't know. I don't mean it's better. I just mean that the artwork I do is like different in experience. Oh, the bad feeling I had. I see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're definitely it's gonna influence the type of stuff you want to paint, right? Like, yeah, that makes sense for sure. But I guess maybe I just went on a rant because I do think people here. Sorry, I do think people often will say things like being in a bad state makes them do better art or that their best ideas come out of sadness. I think that's total BS. Um, Now, it might be the case that that is sort of the end result of sort of a crappy process, right? Like, if the only way you know how to get inspired is by having hardship, then your process sucks. Like, I'm just going to come out and say it. If the only way you can tell an interesting story is a depressing story, then you need to learn how to tell exciting stories, right? Like it depressing stories aren't the only good stories, right? And if you just don't know how to tell a good exciting story or happy story, then you got to work on your storytelling, right? Like that's I don't know. I feel like oftentimes though people are I do think they make the statement sort of that there's like this, tortured artist thing. I just I don't know. I feel like it's total BS. Like I know that maybe there is some evidence to support that idea, right? And it comes from somewhere. But again, I think it's sort of like a gosh, I can't think of analogies when I'm tired. But it's like a it okay, let's use a really crappy analogy. It'd be like saying back in the day of people who rode horses. People who ride horses travel more, right? Well, sure. They travel more than people who don't have horses, but it doesn't mean it's the best way to travel, right? Maybe that's a terrible analogy, but I don't it probably is true, especially currently. Maybe if people have a bad understanding of some things, of like motivators and how to sort of create an environment that they can thrive in. I do think that and again, I'm kind of just speculating here, but I kind of don't buy into that it's, depression and bad moods create better art. It might be the case that that has been a tendency to be a thing, right? And maybe many people who have done great works have had that all in common. And it might be a catalyst for creativity, but I don't think it's the only one, and I definitely don't think it's the best one. And as someone asked, it shouldn't come at the expense of health. Of course not. You should not ever encourage yourself to be unwell for art. And I don't think you should ever view being unwell as a good thing because of art. Like I don't know, it doesn't. I guess to me it feels sometimes like that sort of one of those arguments where it's like historically this has been the way. Therefore, this is the only way. It's like nope, 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 nope. Hold up. Like we can change things. Just because something happened once doesn't mean it has to happen every time. Like can be other ways, even if I mean, I guess that, gosh, it's hard to find a good example, but it's it'd be like saying, the most effective way for, successful children are raised by really, really tough, mean parents. Yeah, well, if all the parents that are mean and tough have successful children, sure, that's great, but we know now that that's just not the only way to do it, right? There are other ways to parent that just, that don't make your kids hate you, right? You don't have to be a jerk. You can do it in a loving way as well. And I think that, to me, that kind of feels like those examples. Like, there was a point where if you were to look at the data would say, oh, yeah, look, successful kids come from mean parents. Probably, right? Maybe they're motivated to get out of the crappy households, whatever. But, like, there probably was a point where that was true, right? If you were to look at data. But it doesn't mean it's the only way. And we know that can change. And I think to me, that feels a lot like the tortured artist thing. It's like, yeah, historically, it's probably the people who were alone enough with their thoughts to create, right, to be in those situations, or people who didn't want to socialize, who were maybe not, and again, not socializing is fine. You don't have to be depressed. I hate socializing. I'm not depressed. But, if on the whole, people who don't want to be around others or just spending a lot of time in isolation, yeah, maybe that is a recipe for creativity. Artists should do art to express themselves, and I make art in any mood. I mean, I think people should do art for whatever reasons they want to do art. It doesn't have to be to express themselves. I mean, I think art is an expression, right? The way you talk is expressing yourself, even if you're talking about something like politics. Is that still expressing yourself? Sure, but I don't think that's. Yeah, I mean, I think I get what you're saying, but yeah, I mean, people should do art for whatever reason they want, and if that means to express themselves, by all means. I just think it's unfortunate that oftentimes the only time people do art is when they're in isolation and they feel, and it's not by choice, right? I think you can intentionally give yourself time to do art, right? You can say, today is going to be a day where I'm not going to go, I'm going to, this is my day. If my boss calls me and I'm going to say, sorry, I have plans, right? If friends ask me to hang out, I'm going to say, sorry, I have plans. And I'm going to plan to do art, right? Art does not have to come purely by happenstance when you're feeling like crap, right? There's other ways to be in a situation to make art, right? And I think anyone who says otherwise is full of crap. That's my hot take of the day. And if you disagree, come at me. And I thought WTF, it's like suggesting me to be more depressed. Yeah, well, a lot of people say that. And it might be, and this is what I'm getting at. It might be the case that your best art has been made when you're not feeling well. But it doesn't mean that the best art will always come when you're not feeling well, right? I mean, it could also be that you just make more art when you feel like crap, and so by pure chance, right, by purely statistics, your best art's going to happen because you made more art in those situations, right? Like, there's lots of other factors, and of course that's only one of them, but there's so many reasons it could happen. Yeah, or more relatable, yeah. And again, it's hard to tell a relatable happy story. You have to go and look for it, right? Like, you have to be, most people, they're not very self-reflective when they're having a good time, right? You're at a party, you're goofing off with friends. You're not overly concerned with the nuance, right? You're not overthinking things. if you're feeling like crap, you are probably overthinking things, you're ruminating on thoughts. Yeah, you're going to have more ideas to tell, right? Because you're thinking about things more. But you can also schedule time to think about things when you're not feeling like crap, right? You could make a routine to do this every day. You could keep a journal. You can come up with ideas and do this in a systematic way that isn't purely because of some other. I don't know. That's my take on it. I feel like you can, again. I think, and I know this is really more popular, especially in like from my understanding, like Silicon Valley type, like entrepreneurial types, right? Like, meditation and all that, and like, doing like little rituals to like sort of get you in the right mindset, and sort of like being more self-reflective and present and all that. But I really do think there is something to that when it comes to creating when you're in a good place as opposed to bad places, because I think oftentimes people are only self-reflective when they're not in a good place, right? And I think you can be self-reflective and happy, right? There's yeah. Anyway, that's my hot take, and I don't know, all the science around that, right? So I'm kind of speaking out of my butt here. I don't fully know. Also, here, I'm gonna do something real quick. Okay, let's paint. Let's do some voting and painting. But before I do that, let me merge my layers. Whoops. And then I'm going to take this one. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to tonal correction, hue saturation. I'm going to crank up the saturation. And then I'm going to use a texture brush, and in a destructive way. No, never mind, not destructive way, because I don't know how to do this in a destructive way. I'm going to make a layer, tonal layer mask, and I'm going to erase with, or not erase, oops, sorry. How do I do this? Let's go like this then. I'm trying to add in saturation. That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, I that's one of those art things that I really hope dies. Is that idea, sort of the tortured artist thing. I know there is evidence that, historically that is the time people create a lot, right? And there's a lot of science to back up that people oftentimes, create more when they're in isolation, and they're more isolated, and there's other factors, and I get that happens, but there's no reason that has to be the only time people make stuff. I hope that sort of thing goes away, as sort of like a thing in the popular, I don't know what you want to call it, like the popular notion of artists creating good art. I just hope that goes away in like the general population's opinion, because I feel like it's super incorrect and just toxic. And I think there's a lot of little things like that in art, and I don't think that's the only one. Now, I think that might be one of the more harmful ones, probably. I don't know. I haven't thought of all of them. But other things are just like, we've talked about it so many times, but like the notion of like artists being like, I don't know, this magical creating things as being like this magical act that requires some, crazy skill set bestowed upon you by the gods at birth or something. Like just that kind of stupid thing where people fundamentally misunderstand how people can do things. And I think it's fine not to know, but the problem is that then you assert that you do understand it when you don't. And so many of your actions and things you say about the thing are rooted in that misunderstanding. And I mentioned this last stream, I think, but there was just recently an entire post on Reddit about someone being upset with the idea of like people praising people who don't use references, and sort of like the implication that if you use references it's not as authentic or it's not as real. That notion is super common, right? It's not always explicitly stated, but you kind of get the impression it's like, oh, you used reference, okay, but it's not from imagination, huh? Like that kind of talk. And it's almost like, oh, they think less of it because they've realized that the veil has been pulled back a bit, and they've realized that you have a process that you follow, and it's not just like spark of magic. Like, I think that also needs to go away. It's okay not to understand something. Well, I don't think it's even elitism. I think for that element of it is, this thing I don't understand is like magic. And now that you've told me a little piece of it and I understand a little bit more, it's less magical, right? And there's this guy, I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of him. I don't really care how you feel about him, but I think he said something that was really good and profound. And it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know. He has some issues. Sometimes he comes off a little arrogant, maybe. But anyway, the dude's kind of cool. But he had a really good point, and it was sort of like that. It was kind of on that same topic of like, the more like learning about the answer to something, there is a way that you can view it that makes it more interesting, right? Because you learn more, and the more you learn, the more fascinating it is. It doesn't, it's like knowing how a magic trick done does not have to ruin it for you, right? I think a lot of people think that, oh, if you learn how the magic trick is done, it ruins it. Or if you learn how this crazy, thing, all these sparkly lights in the sky work, right, it's going to ruin that magic. I think that's ridiculous, right? I think it makes it more exciting in some ways, right? Not only is there more that you understand, there's just a ton that you also don't understand, right? You actually can understand how little you understand, right? I think it can be fascinating. And I think that is a mentality if people adopted, you wouldn't get this art weird thing that people do where it's like you learn a little bit about the process and you suddenly think it's less magical, right? Like, it's still pretty cool that people are able to make amazing stuff. Like, it doesn't matter if it was with magic or with a process that anyone can learn. Like, yes, people can go and learn about the solar system too. It doesn't mean it's less magical. Anyway, that's my analogy to this whole thing, because I do think a lot of that sort of, oh, you used references, like sort of down looking, is literally just because the magical illusion has been shattered, right? It's like they thought you just divined this thing out of thin air, and you're saying, nope, actually I didn't. And they're like, oh, you're not a real magician. I thought you were a wizard and you're not. How disappointing. And I don't know. I don't like that. I think that's a really again, there's so many misconceptions in art, and I think that's one of them. You think it's less magical, but even more impressive for me if I first handly felt how hard it actually is to create. Yeah, I mean, I guess magic isn't the goal, right? I mean, sure, yeah, okay, it's less magical, but like, so this is maybe a little known fact about me. I actually like magicians, like illusions, and like card tricks and vanishing acts and those kinds of things, right? I think they're cool, but I also really like learning how they're done, and I think it's knowing how they're done and still being impressed and still kind of being fooled, even though like you know what's happening, but you can't see it happening. That's exciting to me. I like it may not fool me, right? And if I know what the trick is, right? It's like, oh yeah, the cups and balls trick, right? I know how that's done. I can, if I'm watching for it, I could pretty much pinpoint every single move they do. I may not be able to see the move, but I know they're there, right? I can still be fooled in the sense that I don't catch the tricks, but if I'm looking, I still understand what's happening. Like I don't see them, right? Because it's kind of out of vision. That's kind of the whole point. But like I still get what's happening. But I don't know. It's still exciting to me, and I don't think like sure it's not magical, but it is there is an element of magic, right? It's like it amazes you that someone can do that thing, right? I know that there's a way of learning perspective, and there's a way of learning anatomy, and there's a way of learning lighting and shadow and color and composition and storytelling. But when someone juggles it all together and they do this crazy juggling act and they're like, look at this amazing thing I made, it's like, holy crap, you're amazing. I know it can be done. I know I could go and train to do it too. But like, I don't know. To me, anyway, that's so yeah, to me it doesn't I don't know if magic's the right word, but I think to some people it is magic, right? To me it was never magic in the first place, right? So I don't lose the magic. To me, there's an impressiveness to it, certainly, and it becomes more impressive knowing the rigor that someone went through, right? Like knowing that someone spent. Okay, there was this on Penn and Teller's Fool Us show, right? There was this magician who he had it kind of like the illusion of choice, right? He gave people like, pick a box, they pick a box. He said, okay, pick a toy, they pick a toy, and then he says, here's your prediction, it's inside the toy, right? And it wasn't there's a couple ways to do this. Actually, it wasn't toys, it was tea bags. He had it opened up every single tea bag. There was like hundreds of them, and stuck this thing into it, right? And then put it back together to every single one of them. That to me is like just to pull off this 2-minute trick, right? Probably spent hours and hours doing this thing, cutting these things open, doing this thing for this one trick. I don't know. That to me is super impressive. Like, and it's for entertainment, right? He did his job. He entertained, and it was impressive, and people liked it, right? Even knowing how it's done doesn't ruin it for me. I feel like it's still exciting. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. But anyway, yeah, but I feel like if more people sort of took that approach of, wow, I like the knowledge behind it and I can still appreciate it, I do think you'd lose some of that sort of that magical thinking mindset of making art is like magic. It's not like magic, right? It's a skill. We can acknowledge it's a skill. We don't have to pretend it's magic, and we can still be equally impressed. Right? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody's probably like, you're wrong. Which is fine. But I think I'm not. I think I'm right. Okay. Here is the thing. Oops. No, you're right. So, amen. All right, thanks. Just looking for that praise. Just kidding. I'm not sure about the amen part, but yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna vote for a thumbnail. All right, good rant. Let's go to this thing. I turned off the slideshow so I can go to a straw poll. I can make a straw poll. All right, with 8 options. Allow selection of multiple options. Yes. Create a poll. Yes. Copy paste. There we go. All right. poll is up. It should be working. You can vote. I realize today's thumbnails are a little bit not very colorful. Some of them I will add color to them if we vote on them. If there's, you know. Anyway. I like that one. I only like one of them. Only one that I want to work. Maybe two. Number 6 is winning. All right. That's okay, though. I feel like number 1's going to not get many votes. I voted for number 1 and 3. All right. Anyway, we are now voting. Please do vote if you would like. While that's happening, I'm going to put this into the Discord, where I put all of the thumbnails from each stream. Oh, let me remove this countdown timer. Okay, so I'm gonna... Oh, I'm not even in Discord, am I? That's a blunder on my part. Oh no, I am Discord, never mind. Just kidding. Alrighty, Discord thumbnails, I'm gonna post those there. Again, just for archive purposes, so that they're there. We are currently voting. If you would like to vote, please do. And then I will work on that one until the end of stream, whichever one wins. And I realized, again, like 5 and 8 were just kind of nothings, which, you know, whatever. They're just there. You can see how many people vote without looking at the options. Because if anyone looks at the options, they would not pick those. At least that's my theory. Okay. I feel like today's been a stream of pretty hot takes. Opinions based on pretty much nothing. Okay. So let's see if my... Oh, I got it. Okay. Okay, the game name, I have an answer to that question earlier. The game name was Splendor. Splendor. Splendor, I believe. So yeah, the game name was Splendor. Let me find it. Splendor. Okay, that's not helping. Game. There it is. This game. I don't know why I'm linking. Okay, I can't link that yet. I was going to link the Amazon thing, but not while we're voting. If you're just coming in, we are currently voting. There is a straw poll in chat. Ranty and opinions based on feelings instead of statistics. I mean, I think to be fair though, I mean, I know it's some of them are loosely based on things that my understandings that are based on like actual science and data, but there's also some sort of like, in this case, I don't actually know because there's no very specific thing, you know, studied on this example, and maybe there is, but I don't know of it. So normally it's like tangential things, like this group of things is one way, and so this other thing seems like it's the same, and so I'm assuming it is, you know, also the same as those other things, but I don't actually know. That I do a lot of that when I'm doing my hot takes, where it's like I don't have an exact thing. Whereas otherwise I try to stay much more on base. Everyone choosing 6, come on, seriously. What is wrong with people? Just kidding. We actually don't have that many voters though, so not it could easily change. We really don't have many votes yet. So if anyone... Also, thank you guys for the follows. What the heck? What the heck? Colin Mullen, thank you for the follow. And Miyamoto Love, how are you? Thank you for the follow. So yeah, last call for the poll. If you want to sway the poll, please do. Currently, number 6 is winning. Number 4 is behind, interestingly enough. I don't know what's going on with number 4. Rest in peace, number 1. I like number 1, but I also realized the values were bad. All right, we're probably just going to go with number 6, because I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. Hello, hello! But yeah, how is everyone's Christmas? Hope everyone had a nice, cozy time, and hope you can find some relaxation maybe before the new year, or before the end of the year. 8 is obviously the right choice. Yeah, 8, I'm sorry, number 8. Number 8. Or 7. 7 has 0 votes. Wait, how does 8 have more votes than 7? What the heck? Even a better question, how does 5 have any votes? How does 5 and 8 have 2 votes? And meanwhile, 7 is sitting down here all sad. At least it has color. 8 is so calming. What the heck? Your opinion about art is wrong. Just kidding. Okay, whatever. We're gonna go with number 6. Because that one won the vote. I think that's a good choice. I'm pretty happy with it. It was the wrong choice. My choice would have been 1, but I also know why that one didn't win a vote, because the values were really bad and it didn't stand out. But there was an 2 is from Kenshi game. Let me look real quick. Kenshi game. I don't know that one. I don't know what Kenshi game is. I like number 2 is cool too. I could have totally worked on that one. Okay. I have my tea. Or tea has been drinked. I don't know. Bad at English. All right. So what am I gonna do right now? So my goal now is to fix some compositional stuff. Drink. It's a game about a post-apocalypse after post-apocalypse. Oh, interesting. I think I kind of knew that. I knew of the... Oh, no, never mind. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I didn't know what that game is. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that game I was talking about here is the... I don't know why I'm listing an Amazon link. Also, I don't get anything if you buy this. No, so that was a game that I played yesterday. It was really fun. It was sort of a... Yeah, I don't have a... It's actually, I will say, it has really nice, like, quality pieces. And, like, they have, like, these almost, like, chips. They're, like, hefty poker chips, kind of, but as the pieces. And they're not, like, crappy... You know, they're not just cardboard, right? They're... Like, the game is well made. And I thought that was a really nice quality to it. So, that was cool. But yeah, anyway. So that's that. So what I'm going to do for this painting is try to take the good parts of the composition and sort of embrace them and get rid of the bad parts and maybe add a story or something. So what I'm thinking, and people can disagree, but I am thinking this painting would look better if we were looking up at it. So I'm actually going to do that in a few ways. We were talking about the ground plane earlier. I'm actually going to narrow it. So let's see if I can draw this out. This pic gives me hyper light drifter vibes. I don't know what hyper light drifter vibes is. So right now, they're like right here is the horizon line, right? Dead center of the composition. Not ideal, as Fish would say. Actually, as I would say, it's not ideal. Let's put it that way. But anyway, if you look at like foreground, midground, background, we kind of have this division, right? Like this. What I want to do is lower it. Whoops. Lower the whole painting. Like lower the composition, but also compress these three lines so that we're looking more just across and up. Right? So I want to be looking up at the painting instead. So I want to merge all three of these lines together. Kind of like a... like that, right? Making them smaller. I don't know if that's a good explanation. Shifting the whole painting up. So that's what the first thing I'm going to do. Is just go down, bring the foreground lower the background so that we're really looking up at it. If we might even do the thing that what we saw in that that initial sketch earlier. No, sorry. The sketch by... Gosh, I'm bad with names. Go to art channel. Come on, I can use my words. It was the sketch by Vanna, right? We saw the... like how they sort of had these three layers that were very much overlapping, right? There was so much overlap that there was no ground plane. I'm kind of leaning towards that a little bit more in this one. And I think it'll be a nice effect if we want to look up at the sky. It's basically saying, look, there's a whole world up there. Look at it. So that's kind of what's going on. Okay. And I like the idea, though, that it's very cool up here. And by cool, I mean temperature-wise, not neat. I guess it's kind of neat, too, but its temperature is cool. Okay. What else do I not like about this? I mean, I know it's not good always to just only think about what you don't like. It's also good to think about what you do. And I do like the colors, and I do like the blue, the cool down below and the warmer up above. I'm actually going to embrace that. But that's, yeah. You know, maybe that's a thing I don't talk quite enough about. I do think about it a lot, because I oftentimes am trying to get a good sense of mood, and I think I achieve it with color palette and composition and stuff. And if I do achieve it, then it's obviously that I'm taking it into account. But I think I need to make it more obvious. I think sometimes that I'm so focused on talking about the things that are wrong that I kind of, the stuff that's making it actually work, I'm taking for granted, right? Like if I'm thinking about composition or making certain lines go a certain way, oftentimes I'm just doing those sort of instinctually, and the good instincts are just left, and then it's the bad ones that I'm removing, right? So it's like I paint the thing very intuitively because I have some experience painting, and then I go back and sort of hammer out all the parts that I goofed up in. And I think the hammering out phase gets more attention than maybe I would want. Because it's hard to talk about the intuitive part, because I'm kind of doing a lot of it automatically. Just thinking out loud here. Alright, so I am putting in some pastel-y purple back here. Oops. Gotta love those pastels. I think they're great. We have this bright neon green, which I'm actually going to reintroduce. Hello, how are you? Hey, pants are clean, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Merry after holidays. Or maybe it's still holidays. I'm great, you too? I am doing well. It's been really nice. Yeah, good holidays. Food. Good food. Presents. Good family. Good company. All the stuff. It was nice. Joe, did you turn off the point thingy? Like the posture check, etc.? No. I don't think so. I shouldn't have. No, it should still be there. It's possible that maybe it's just on cooldown. Or, I don't know. Maybe you've been banned from it. Oh, no, yeah, Least did it. While we were voting. Least did flamingo check and posture check. Or, posture check and... Yeah, it's probably not available because it's on cooldown. And I am sitting up straight. So yeah, I think it's just on cooldown. But I appreciate it. Also, you don't have to redeem it. You can just say it if you want. Like it's kind of a PSA for everyone, which is, make sure you're sitting up straight. You don't have a posture that makes you look like a slug or a flamingo if you're me and you sit on one foot often. Does anyone else do that? Now I'm curious. I mean, I know some people do. Because it wasn't even me who came up with the term. So I know for a fact that, say, Rona does flamingo. But yeah, I don't know about the other people. What about you guys? Do you all have terrible posture like me? What is the verdict? But it's fine, and I really appreciate that you made them only 1 point because most streamers want 100 to 5. So yeah, so I have a very specific reason though that I have mine only 1 point as opposed to 500. It's not because some streamers, they don't have a big prize, right? I call it a prize. It's not a prize. It's just a thing you get for spending time here. Some streamers have no big thing to spend your points on, and because mine is a real world product, right? I send you a print in the mail if you want it. Because some people do want that, I don't want them to feel like they have to choose between, oh, I have to do this point thing, should I spend my points on this other thing, right? Like, if the streamer has terrible posture, right? Maybe. First of all, you don't even know because you can't see me. I don't have a cam. But if I did, right, I wouldn't want you to feel like, oh, I either have to spend points or save up for this thing, right? I don't like that. I think if there's a real prize, everyone should be able to save for it, and no one should feel like they're getting behind by redeeming a drink thing or like reminding people to breathe, right, by spending points. Like, that's silly. Like, it should just be a thing that's free. If I could have made it free, I would have. I mean, I guess I could put it just on a timer, but then I'd just ignore it. I kind of ignore them anyway sometimes. Yeah, exactly. And that was my thought behind it. So that's why I put them low. Same thing for like the emotes. I put them as low as I can. Twitch didn't let me put them lower. I might be able to change it now. I don't know. It's been like a year or two since I've even looked, so it's possible that I can now edit them more. I should probably go through and see if I can do that. Okay, what am I gonna do here? Well, this is just very straightforward. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna know what I'm gonna do. I know artists who literally forget to blink during drawing. Oh, I mean, I do that too, totally. Luckily, I do have two screens, and because my screens are at different levels, here, I can draw it for you. I've done this before. I have a screen like this, and then I have another screen kind of almost in front, right? It's like this, right? And it's larger and it's in front. So because there's a depth here, right? This is not, right? This thing, there's a depth to this, right? This is going into space, right? And there's some space here. So here's this is sitting and this is sitting here. But because there's depth, my eyes, I pretty much, every time I go to read chat, I pretty much am forced to blink. Or at least, like, refocus, right? So there is a lot of, like, eye muscle movement, right? It's subtle, right? But it happens enough that I feel like I do, when I stream, I blink quite a bit. If I'm just painting on my own, though, I totally forget to blink. Like, I absolutely forget to blink. Please blink today, or else they will. Anyway, so that's a thing. And when they actually blink, they go, "Oh, he's so hurt." No, wait, what? People would actually not. Okay, if you're not doing something because it hurts, you either need to do it more often or go to the doctor, right? Like, unless it's like not a good thing, like, you know, moving your arm past its, you know, range of motion. Like, if you can't, like, walk, for example, without hurting yourself, like, maybe you actually need to work up to the point where you can start doing it more, not less. Like, you don't avoid the thing that is getting harder. Like, do it more so you can build up and, I don't know, right? Like, isn't that basic human care? I don't know. What do I know? I'm an artist. Now, what is that emote? Oh, I see. I avoid the gym. I mean, I kind of do too. I don't really work out. I do stand a lot. I do squat a lot. I'll do like push-ups occasionally, or like planking, sort of just like basic stuff. I don't know. I'm not super active by any means. I do walk everywhere though, because I don't have a car and I live close enough to where I work and the stores and stuff. So I do walk pretty much everywhere. So I'm kind of sort of active. Like, I think I'm more active than this is. I say this a lot, but I think I'm more active than people who aren't active, right? And it's sort of like when I play chess, right? I'm a pretty good chess player for someone who doesn't compete in chess, right? Like, I'm not competitive. I don't practice, right? I just play the game a lot, right? I just walk a lot, but I don't think of myself as active. Like, I don't make an effort to be active, right? Any activity I have is just purely happenstance because I don't have a car and I walk, right? So, you know, especially if you're comparing like Americans, I'm probably more active. Can I battle you in chess? Sure. What if would you battle me on stream? No, I don't know if I would play on stream. I've played once on stream before. I could play a game of chess right now. I don't know. I don't know if I want to play a game of chess on stream. If you'd be okay with that. No worry, I sucky. Okay, I mean, I don't know if you feel like you're not good. Bad memories. Sorry, fish. Where do you I have an account on both Lee Chess and chess.com. I typically play on chess.com though. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play right now on stream. Maybe at the end. If you're still here in 50 minutes, I'll play you a game at the very end. Maybe I'll make a point redemption, which is totally unrelated to art, but it'll be like battle me at chess or something. I don't know. It's a weird. Like I would play you offline anyway, but I. I don't know. I kind of feel weird. I don't think people care here about chess. Yeah, do I pink? I mean, now I'm trying to think from like an entertainment value point of view. Can I keep people here? I know this is so stupid. Talking about overthinking when you're tired. Clearly, it doesn't stop me. Do people stick around more because a chess game's going to happen at the end of stream? Or does a second chess come on, they leave? Right? Which one is more likely? Right? In an art stream where people don't care about chess, do they leave immediately upon hearing the chess sounds? In which case, end of stream would be good. But if also last impressions are pretty important too, right? Like there's that like the first and last impression are important. Like if you don't if there's new people and they all leave with the impression of chess, they might not come back. Gosh, I don't know. Do I play chess at the end of stream? Let's take it to a poll. / poll. That's not how I do. The question will be, should I play a chess match on, or a chess game, one game, not a match, a game on stream, or should I play a chess game at end of stream? There we go. 1, yes, or 2 is no. Actually, that's just yes or no. 10 minutes. It's going to be a long poll. Just play chess. I don't know if I should do it. That's what the vote's going to be. It's going to be a very long poll. It's going to be a 10-minute poll. Okay, so it's already a yes. All right, looks like it's pretty much voted. Maybe somebody says no. But I don't know. I mean, if people think chess is stupid, then, you know. I should have put that. Do you think chess is stupid? That would have been a better poll. Totally unbiased. Okay. But so let's do a thing. Dang, there's nobody just going against the crowd because why not? Impressive. Okay. Oh yes, I'm gonna look up bamboo images. Bamboo is extremely simple. Not very interesting, is it? It's like the most simple structure. Okay, well that's a thing. But it does typically grow thicker than this. Maybe we'll do like... Ooh, I guess the leaves are kind of cool. Well, that's a thing. I think you got yourself into something, Joe. LMA. Why? Are you like super good? Am I gonna get crushed on stream? Maybe. No, I mean, I think you've got yourself into something. Be prepared for, I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know how we want to do this. Either I can make a game, probably, you know, I don't know, keep it like under 5 or 10 minutes. Like, I don't want to like no like super long games. Um, I don't want to. So it needs to be something mildly quick, maybe like 5 minutes or something, or 10 minutes maybe at the most. Um, you know. So I don't know if you want to send me an invite and then I'll accept it, or I don't know how you want to do that. I just play 10-minute games because 5 minutes is super stressful. Yeah, we can do 10-minute games. And how about this? We can do a 10-minute game, and if there's a rating discrepancy, because I don't know what your rating is, maybe you're way higher than me, maybe not, then whoever is higher rated can just play quicker, right? Just play quicker, allow the person who's like that way it at least will sort of make it ever so slightly more fair, but also that way if, for example, let's say I'm higher rated or something, if I move quick, then I can just end up I'm 1600 on chess.com with much much higher tactics. But that's only cuz I don't know openings. That's my excuse. So like I do a lot of tactics, I do a lot of puzzles, I do a lot of just stupid openings to get myself into bad positions, and then I tactics my way out of them. And with that terrible strategy, I'm 1600 ish. Sometimes higher, sometimes lower. I'm not great though. I mean, 1600. Like I say, I'm better than a lot of people who don't play a lot of chess, like competitively or anything. If you don't play chess competitively, I'm pretty decent. But if you are someone who plays competitively, I'm not gonna be good against you, right? Like I'm in that middle ground where I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, I'm going to now work on painting real quick. I'm gonna draw some of these little bamboo marks. Do bamboos have contours? Very slightly. I don't know. I mean, what's your rating? Maybe watch you be like 2200 and you're like, oh gosh, what have I gotten myself into? I'm gonna crush this guy on stream. It's gonna be sad. No, it's not a big deal. It's all fun. I sleep competitively. Yeah, that's a good. I'm a competitive sleeper. I wish I was a competitive sleeper. I am so inconsistent in my training, in my sleep training. Very inconsistent. I gotta get a good regiment going, where I actually stick to a routine. I feel like if I did if sleeping were competitive, I would be really bad at it. I would be like the person who just occasionally does it when they feel like it. And when they do, they don't do a good quality training. That's how I think of it. Just sort of bamboo-y. All right, and then these need to have a little bit of color on the edge. And then I'm going to put, again, more of these. How many hours do you usually sleep per night? How many would you... I mean, I like sleep. I sleep typically quite a bit. I prefer, like, 7 to 10 hours of sleep. I prefer over 8. And I think my sweet spot's like 8 to 9. I like sleeping long. And I oftentimes do have a schedule that allows me to sleep for a long time. The problem is that it's not super consistent. I don't always go to bed at the same time every night. I don't wake up at the same time every day. And a couple days a week I get garbage sleep. So like Tuesday night into Wednesday is horrible sleep. And just happened to be last night was terrible because of the holidays. my work schedule was kind of like I didn't have work Tuesday into Wednesday. So instead it was kind of moved to last night, which is sort of why my sleep sucked. So my sleep schedule moves around, um, which is not good. But typically I can get the sleep, right? It's not like it's an impossibility. It's not like I'm working so much that I can't sleep. No, it's kind of a choice, habit, you know, those kinds of things. Rut-row, Shaggy, Scooby Snack. What does that even mean? How... Turquoise, what print do you want? What, what print do you want? Also, okay, so we only have 5 votes for chess, but apparently those 5 very few people are okay with watching me play chess. This is a very poppin' stream. All 5 people, all 5 viewers just voted. Just kidding. Thank you guys for being here, by the way. I appreciate it. It means a lot. I feel like Chlor did it. I don't know why I keep bringing Chlor up. I feel like Chlor just did a painting with bamboo or something. And now I feel like I'm doing one. I don't know. It doesn't mean anything. But I just noticed that. Just an observation. Maybe it's just bamboo is in the mind. What's your favorite old master artist? Probably some of like the Hudson River School painters, like Thomas Cole or something, or Frederick Church. They did a lot of um, very fantasy style paintings. There's like one with a giant goblet in the middle of the mountains or something, with like waterfall coming over it. So I feel like they had a lot of like kind of they were very like academic, painterly environment artist painters, but some of them had a bit more of like, I don't know, fantasy vibes, a lot more inventive. There were some painters like Albert Bierstadt. I don't know how you say his name. That guy, Albert something, who did like the Among the Sierra Nevada mountains. I feel like his paintings are beautiful and absolutely gorgeous, but they're all kind of like samey. I feel like he figured out how to paint really cool lighting and just kind of kept doing the same thing. That was my take on him. So like, he's amazing, but I feel like some of the other people who are lesser known, like probably Frederick Church and Thomas Cole's like literally the founder of that whole thing. I don't know. Probably those people would be like my favorite old timey masters. Um, I don't know. I don't really like love a lot of the old timey masters. A lot of them I just don't like. Like I can. Hmm. I don't know why I typed that. It was in my mind because I was like, yes, finally. Looking at my first print from you right now. It's on my fridge. Aw. But yeah, let me know what you want. And if your address has not changed, I don't think you'll need to send it again. Maybe you will, but um, I'll let you know if I still have it. Or I won't let you know. I'll just send it if I do. But if it has changed, then I'll obviously need a new address. What do you think about modern art, like colorful cubes and um I think I mean it depends on the art, right? But so to me I kind of group I guess when I'm in, you know, the quote unquote art scene that I'm in is much more illustration, right? And concept art and production stuff, and a lot less to do with like, you know, just crazy expression and stuff. Um, I don't. I think some of like abstract stuff can be pretty cool, especially like paintings, because there is an element of composition and color, and it can be quite exciting. And I think there's some really cool stuff. Um, but I feel like to me, it kind of splits into different categories, and I know categorizing art, whatever, but the fact that we're, you know, um, it kind of falls into like this like fine art market, which is like when you think of like high end stuff, which is like, you know, collectors, right? Where the people who buy it, they're looking to collect, and you might have like a person who collects a lot of the same art by one artist, right? I don't really understand that market. I feel like a lot of it is kind of manufactured in some way because the artist makes art slowly. So as their popularity increases, demand goes up, and then it's the demand is only because of popularity and because of the it's sort of like saying I only have one of this, right? And then somebody's like, I want it, I want it. It's like, no, oh, that person wants it. Well, so do I, right? And it's like, I haven't even told you what it is yet, right? It doesn't matter what it is. People want it because this person has a name, and that's kind of my impression of it. And it's sort of a popularity thing, and isn't even to do that much with the art. And sometimes when the art is important, you don't know what it is by looking at it. You have to like read the statement, and some of it has a lot of history and interesting stories. But to me, it's almost a performance in that sense, and not like performance art, but like the story is what makes the art, not the art telling the story, right? Like you might find a random painting that looks like Splash and be like, "Oh, this guy literally did this in a drunken rage after after he was rejected from an art fair or something." And it's like, "Oh, wow, this is a really bizarre story," or, whatever. And then of course that somehow that person's also famous, so people like it. I don't really get it. I don't think it's bad, right? I think it's just a different thing. I mean, it's sort of like asking me what do I think about celebrity fashion. I mean, some of it's cool, some of it's totally nonsense, but hey, if people like it and will pay money or whatever, I I don't know. I mean, it's a totally different thing. It's not even comparable. Like I know we're calling it all art, right? This is why I've ranted about the umbrella term of art, right? Here's your umbrella, and you just art. It's kind of a worthless term because it's fundamentally they're just different things, right? That element of art and that market and that industry and the that career is just, and what it means to be an artist doing that art is so fundamentally different than what I'm doing, right? Yes, I am making strokes and marks on a page, and they might be making marks on a page, but beyond that, that's like saying a writer, right? They're also putting marks on a page. And yeah, sure, you can call it art, right? Writing is an art form, but it's not the same. Like they're very, very different, right? They're judged by, you don't judge writing based on its aesthetics. You judge illustration based on its aesthetics, right? And how well it tells its story or whatever. You don't necessarily judge sort of a lot of this fine art, modern art by its aesthetics, and that's fine, right? You don't need to, right? Just like you don't judge writing by its aesthetics, right? You don't look at the words and say, "Oh, those words are lined up to the left margin nicely." You don't do that. It's not important. Um, and just like you don't look at some modern art and care if it looks nice, right? It doesn't really matter always. That's my impression. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the story, it depends on the artist, right? Some artists are very technical and they get famous and have lots of, you know, they know what they're doing. They've planned it out. They've done a lot of sort of practice and to do this craft and the skill. And others, I don't know, sometimes they just get famous because they're famous, right? Or they cause controversy. I mean, isn't that kind of what gosh, what's his name? We watched a video with by James Gurney about this guy. He's a big name currently, or was. The guy who did the soup cans, right? I think he kind of got popular because he was making things that were a little disruptive. Not because of the art themselves. It was the type of art he was doing didn't fit sort of the elitism, and so people it got attention, right? It's like making a radical comment on Twitter. Yeah, Andy Warhol, exactly. Right? To me, it's kind of akin to like making a radical comment on Twitter and having it blow up. You still might have a good point, but if you say something slightly outrageous and then explain yourself later, I think you can become popular not because you're brilliant, right? I mean, again, I don't know. You might be brilliant at using Twitter, right? Does that mean you're a brilliant writer? I don't know. I mean, it's a totally a different skill set, a totally different universe. And I feel like a lot of these artists, again, I have nothing against them, right? Clearly, Andy Warhol could paint great stuff. I mean, he was a good painter, right? I'm not denying it, but I do think a lot of like their rise to fame wasn't because of their skill in painting. It was because of the way they marketed themselves, right? It's almost like a being again, my analogy to being good at Twitter, right? You're knowing how to get a rise out of the right people who can make statements and people talk about you and your name spreads and then people care about you and now your art goes up in value because again, that's what so it's weird. I don't know. Again, I don't have really any feelings for or against it. It's just like yeah, it's like what is my opinion on celebrity fashion? I don't really have an opinion. It doesn't relate to me. I guess some of it's cool. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. I don't think like again, do I judge it on aesthetics if it's celebrity fashion? You don't have to. Hey Robin, how are you? Because I don't think the point is always aesthetics, right? And I don't always know how to judge the art. And again, I realize art doesn't need to be judged, but yeah. It's really sad that marketing. I mean, it's an entire different industry. I mean, it's again, it's funny that people think of that when they talk of like the art industry. Oftentimes, like if to a non-artist, when they hear that you're an artist, they think you're trying to break into that sort of industry. To me, that industry is far more marketing, campaigning in a sense, and publicity and sort of it's almost way more of everything than actual art. That's kind of my view on it. Like don't get me wrong, these people are artists, but they seem to be marketing and other things first. And I think that's fine, but it's just a different industry, right? It's not even comparable. There are industry. I think my issue with it is that it's not transparent about what it is, right? It masquerades as like, oh, here is this all-time great artist. If being an artist simply means getting, you know, making a hot take on Twitter, I'm again metaphorically Twitter, but like, you know, doing big bold brash statements to get people talking about you, sure, then they're artists, but they're knowing how to get people to talk about them, right? I mean, to some degree. So I don't know. I mean, it's again just a different skill, different thing. And a lot of people who are very serious about their art, you know, they'll never get that fame because they aren't making big sweeping things, right? They're just doing what they like, and what they like isn't popular. Um, so yeah, it's just a weird. Yeah, I think my only gripe with that entire thing is sort of the misleading nature of it, right? People will hear an art sold for $1 million, and there's this thing like, therefore that artwork is great. Maybe, but or maybe the person is just really popular and there's one of it, and people like to have really popular, rare things, right? I mean, it's this reason autographs are expensive. It's not because they signed their name nicely, right? It has nothing to do with their like the visuals of their signature. but in the history of the art itself. Well, sorry, when I say story, history is literally story. That's what. Sorry, Cullen. I actually a contemporary artist, and I can tell deal that deal is not about story or creation marketing, but in the history of art itself, which includes a problem the artist tries to solve or talk about. For example, yeah, no, I realize a lot of, especially like movements, right? And I realize a lot of movements are, or individual artists. There definitely are some, and yeah, and I do think you're right in that. I guess trying to solve a problem, and sometimes it's being outspoken, and they're, yeah. I mean, again, whether it's intentional, right? You might just be trying to make a statement. I mean, it's kind of okay. You might be making a bold statement, but by making that statement, it's going against the norm, right? So you are standing out. It's not necessarily because of this. Again, to me, it feel, and I could be way wrong on this, and I'm willing. That's fine. I'm kind of okay not fully diving in deep to the history of this, but it seems like it's not so much about the specific statement. It seems more like that the statement was made at all, right? It's like someone standing up to protest. Does it matter the exact way they do it? Or is it the fact that they were the one who did it? Right? They are the one protesting. So they get the spotlight because no one else is doing it. Right? I don't know if that makes their method of protesting good. It just means that the spotlight's on them because they're the one doing it. Right? There might have been more better ways to do it, more tactful ways of. I don't. It in some ways it doesn't feel like it's about the art, right? It's the intent, and like you said, changing reality after World War One when people themselves became collages with artificial legs. Yeah, I mean, I think drawing analogies to stuff. Sometimes people do have really cool ways, and but I've also there is a lot of, yeah. I mean, yeah, the history too is important. I mean, I do think the history of art and sort of again the story of why someone made art in the first place. It's the narrative behind it though, right? If you just saw a collage after World War One, right, the first collage ever seen, if it wasn't explained that parallel, I don't think if no one ever explained why they did a thing, would it really have taken off? I mean, maybe. Right? Collages are pretty cool. I think they can look nice too. But like, just because something is done doesn't mean it's gonna pick up. I don't know. I feel like there's. I guess my point is there's so many other factors at play. It's hard to know what I think about it because it's not the same thing, right? It's. I mean, imagine trying to compare or even think about that in the same terms as, say, like, I don't know, concept art. You literally can't even talk about them in this as the same because they're just fundamentally different things, which is fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. They don't know if they should do modernity or art. Yeah, I mean, I think there's just a lot of things. I mean, yeah, there are some artists who had really sort of like important statements, right? And they actually changed the way people think about things, and they disrupted maybe systems that were broken, and I think that's great. But it's weird that it's focused on art. It almost doesn't need to be focused on art. It could have also been like an administrator, like an art curator who's saying, "Hey, I'm going to stand up for all these little guys and allow more stuff," right? Like it again, I think, and I hate bringing this up because NFTs are stupid and I'm bringing up NFTs, but this is like when people constantly were talking about NFTs and art in the same sentence. Like NFTs don't really have anything to do with art, right? But people kept on associating art with them. It could have been anything. It didn't have to be art, right? I mean, some people use like poems or whatever. Like the point is, it didn't have to be any of that, but people just kept bringing art into it, and that's kind of how I feel about a lot of these, like, when people protest with art. It doesn't have to be, or it doesn't have to be a protest, right? But when people make statements with art, they could have made a statement in any other way, right? But the fact they did it with art, suddenly now, I guess the art is worth something. I don't. It's kind of weird. I don't. Honestly, I don't understand it fully. There's a lot of like confusing nature behind it. It feels like a mix of politics and history and intent. And if you didn't know what the intent was, would you know what? It's kind of like, have you ever seen people protesting on the street about some issue, but you have literally no idea what they're protesting about? Is that protest going to be important unless they tell you? Like, if nobody knows what it's about, it's a useless protest, right? They kind of have to tell you. And I think a lot of times the art does not speak for itself. And that's okay. But it's kind of then not really about the art. It's kind of about the message, right? It's kind of about the story of why they're there. It's not about how they look. It's not about what they're saying. It's kind of about why they're there and getting people to talk. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good analogy, because I know not every artist is trying to make a big bold statement, right? Not every art is sort of a protest piece. Sometimes they're just observations, and sometimes they're observations of people who are in less fortunate positions, right? And it's like, wow, this person's voice is being heard. Now we're listening, kind of thing, and that's cool too. But in some ways, it's still, I don't know. It's weird. I know that's not a very good use of my vocabulary. Anyway, so yeah, I guess to close out a 15-minute rant on this, what are my thoughts on it? I don't know. I don't really. I'm just sitting there in the gray area. No real thoughts. As far as like what I like, if I like it, I like it. Some of the stories are provocative. Some of the artists are interesting. Some of the art is beautiful, but some of it's extremely uninteresting and still extremely popular for some reason. And I don't really always know why, and that's fine. It's not really my thing, right? Just like sometimes I'll read a book that's highly recommended. I'm like, dude, I couldn't get through the first 10 chapters, or the first one chapter. Sorry, the first 10 pages is what I meant to say. And sometimes that's just the way it is, and that's okay, right? You don't have to like everything. I don't think it's terrible, but, But I also, I guess, to bring this away from sort of quote unquote modern art and more into just art talk in general, I do think that is one reason why I don't really like just the umbrella term, I'm an artist. Like, okay, fantastic. What do you do? I do art. Yeah, what does that mean? Like, everything can be considered art, right? Everything from telling stories to performances to drawing pictures or painting, but every painting can be for different reasons. Sometimes it's to tell a story, sometimes it's to design something, sometimes it's to express your feelings or express someone else's ideas, or like it's all fundamentally for different reasons. And I don't it's almost a meaningless descriptor, I guess. But I also know that some people hold that term to high prestige. And I definitely will say, oh, thanks for the hydrate, Colin Mullen. I will say I grew up in an area where art is not seen as like a prestigious thing, right? And so my views are shaped by that a little bit. Like when you think of artists, you think of starving artists, you think of, performance artists, people, doing things essentially, again, kind of what I described, like doing things to make a scene, or again, I know that's not what performance art is, or doing this, like, the maybe the not very good image of some person splashing paint on a canvas, right? Because they know that splashing paint on canvases can be fun or expressive, and that's fine. But it's not a thing that people think, oh my gosh, you're an artist, how cool. Yeah, so I mean, I've heard people say, and I don't know this firsthand, But I've heard people say that if you're in like Hollywood and people ask you what you do and you say you're an artist, they assume that you're like a production artist. And it's like, oh, you're what movies are you working on? I don't know if that's true, but I would imagine a place where art is the industry, it would actually change, right? Here, like for me, art is seen as a thing like you only do it as a hobby, right? Art is a hobby, or there's these weird, extremely expensive artists, art who makes a ton of money, and everybody else is homeless. It's kind of one or the other. And if you say you're an artist, people aren't assuming you made it, right? The fact that they're talking to you probably implies that you haven't. And so it's kind of this, oh, you're an artist. You're a weirdo who spends time in like I don't and again, I think it doesn't help the message because I guess if you're going to use a term, and this is maybe just my analytical part of me or whatever you want to call it, if somebody's going to ask me a question and I'm going to describe myself as something, I want to be clear, right? I want to communicate well. I mean, heck, you could even make an argument that art is communication, right? It's my job as an artist to communicate what I do. Why the heck would I use the term, oh, I'm just an artist? That doesn't communicate anything. Like, use your words, people. If you want to describe what you do, then do it. But I don't know. I don't dislike the word artist. I just think it needs additional words, right? You can be a fantasy landscape artist or an illustrator. Why not an illustrator, right? I'm a communicator. I mean, it is that's not what I meant. I mean, there's always ways you can modify it. I am a digital painter, sure, but I am also which kind of digital painting, right? That doesn't mean anything, right? Is that a hobby? Is that a career? Is that are you do you do freelance? Are you independent artist? Do you work in like an industry? Do you do like production stuff, or are you an illustrator? Do you maybe do abstract paintings or maybe like patterns for licensing? Like I feel like these matter, right? You could say I'm an artist who does licensing or works in licensing and patterns or something. Like or I'm an illustrator in the games industry or I do I think all of these things, if you just say I draw, right, or I paint, I guess that's a little more descriptive than artist, right? At least now we know that you use a pen or a pencil or a paintbrush, but it still doesn't give you much, right? It's like I don't think it needs to be held to a high prestige. The term itself, in my opinion, shouldn't carry the weight that some people think it has. I'm a painter, but I have a real job. Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much. That's funny. Yeah. I mean, I guess I remember, and I kid you not, this is a legitimate thing that I heard someone say, and I know I've heard other people say that they've heard people say it too, but it's like you're talking to like your grandma or your grandma's friend or someone who's older or something, and you're like, so what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm an artist. Like, oh, my niece is an artist, and you're like, oh, cool. What does she do? She's like, oh, she's 4, and you're like, oh, thanks. Okay, I guess I'm in that group then. It's like, yeah, they're literally finger painting. That doesn't. I get it. They are artists, but when the spectrum is so wide, it does not communicate what you do, right? That is just, it's, I don't know, it's a hard thing, right? I think sometimes just use more words. Did you ever hear that yourself? Yes, I did. Which is, so it was literally with my grandma. It was me, like she was introducing me to like we went to like a friend's house or something to pick something up or something, like or it was like her granddaughter. I think it was her granddaughter, not a niece. But we went to go like pick something up from like one of her church people. Yeah, but I actually have skill, no offense. No, but I mean, I think that's the issue, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think there's ways, like, again, you can either add more words to the description or you can describe it in different terms, right? If people say I'm an illustrator, that sounds like a profession, right? Artist can be a hobbyist or a profession in anything. Illustrator's not even, like, that's very, like, what if you're a, do scientific illustration versus kids illustrations? I know it doesn't really matter exactly what you do, right? Especially for casual conversation, right? That's like saying, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. What does that mean? Do you like sell, like, do you have like a bake sale thing outside your house and you make some money? Like, that's cool, I guess. Or do you own, multiple multi-million dollar businesses? Totally different ballpark there, right? Sometimes it just said, just say the industry. If you said, oh, I'm an entrepreneur in like I don't know, the tech industry, right? Now we know you don't have a lemonade stand, right? At least it narrows it in a little bit, right? And then people, if they're curious, they could be like, oh, well, what do you do? Like, what specifically? And then you could elaborate. So I don't know. I feel like just saying something that sort of gives the impression that you want, right? It might be just saying I'm an artist if you live in, Hollywood, right? If you're talking to someone who assumes that term means you're working on movies or something, like whatever, use that term if that's what you do. Or if you work in games or whatever, Or if you do fine art, you could say I'm a fine artist and or I'm a gallery artist, or I don't even know enough about that side of things. And that's fine too. I mean, that, again, at least describe, like if somebody said I'm a gallery artist, I don't even know if that's a term people would ever use. Pretty ignorant about that thing myself, but if you said that, at least then they understand that, oh, you are, you have shown in galleries or in shows or something, right? You have a collection of work, right? It's probably more than one piece. You do this and you're serious about it. I think at least that conveys some information, right? You can sort of pick it apart. But if you just say, I don't know, yeah, okay. End of rant. There we go. Solid rant. All right. So I promised to play you a game of chess. You want to play a game of chess? Sorry, this is not. I've done this like once before on stream. Whoa, we're getting raided by Zillustrator. Zillustrator, you're just coming in, and I'm gonna play a game of chess. It has nothing to do with art. For all you art people, art is over. No, I'm kidding. We are. Zilly, how is your stream? You know the thing. Link the images, show the stuff, and I like that you never have to explain exactly engineer you are. You can be a rhetoric engineer, train engineer, but only non-physical jobs need to be explained. I don't think that's entirely true. I mean, I think it is for the most part, but I think it's when that there's also a hobby, right? Art is also a hobby, right? Like athlete, right? You wouldn't just say I'm an athlete. That doesn't tell you if they're professional or a hobbyist, right? I think it's when there's a thing people do for fun, and sometimes it's also a career, right? I think you have to distinguish that this is the career if you want to communicate. Very, very, very long. Hello, friends. Hey. Okay, so there are Zilly's links. I'm going to open up. I shall upload what I was working on. Okay. What is the best one to show? I know people don't like Instagram. I like Instagram, so I'm going to show Instagram. I'm going to show Zilly's stuff real quick. I'm an artist for real. Yeah, just say for realsies after. That'll send the message that you mean business. Yeah. Okay, this is Illustrator's work. It's gorgeous. If you don't like it, what is wrong with you? As I hadn't liked it. But yeah, no, his Illustrator stuff is amazing. Look at this stuff here. Look at this. Look at these. It's very painterly, very swooshy, and uh, uh, gorgeous colors, and you can tell it's stormy and vibrant and amazing. It's a pig. It is beyond gorgeous. Look, yeah, no, it is beyond gorgeous. The Illustrator stuff is great. Also, I'm not liking it. I don't mean to say that I don't like it. I do like it. I just haven't liked it because I haven't gone through your Instagram. But yeah, this stuff is all great. Super painterly, super gorgeous. He does it live on stream. Go follow his Illustrator. His links are right there. Yeah, Zilly, how was your stream though? Sorry, your stream is very long, very long. Nice. Yeah, I'm getting to the end of my stream. Your current stuff. Okay, excellent. Also, I'm really tired, so if I sound like a potato, that's because my brain is functioning on a few brain cells at the moment. At least one brain cell, but not many more. Ooh, this is gorgeous, Silly. Look at this. Those colors are so good. Very industrial, jet burning engine fuel. Yeah, look at that. Big indication of like these giant turbines in the background. This sort of, I'm revising a revise. Yeah, but these are super cool. And a little cat with a hat. I'm torturing people's eyes. It's all good. It's all good. You're not torturing the eyes. It's you're treating the eyes to a nice, beautiful something. Pleasant. I can't think of the right words. Nice colors. Nice colors, Zilly. There's even a puppy paw in the sky. Oh, I think I missed that. This is not looking good. But yeah. Thank you so much for the raid, Zilly. I really appreciate it. Ooh, this could be fun. Putting some of these marks over here. But yeah, I really appreciate it. This also Zilly. I have some of Zilly's brushes. This is one of them. He has these nice brushes. These are older brushes. I've used a lot of his brushes in the past. They have tilt. They have all the stuff. Although my tablet is very struggling right now. I don't know why. But yeah, they very nice brushes. I've used them a lot or a bit. You're dude, same. Yeah, go bail. I need a bail as well because I'm very tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. I worked earlier today and I stayed up late last night at Christmas stuff. So yeah, anyway, I hope you had a good holiday season. Thank you, Zilly, for being here. Thank you for the raid and everyone who came in with your community. I hope you all had a good holiday season if you celebrate, and if not, that's fine too. You can still eat treats and stuff at any time of the year. You don't need a holiday to do it. You have my permission. Okay. Yeah, I owe Ellie friend a game of chess. Do you have a link? Let me go to chess.com. I promised a game of chess on stream. Do you want to send me a match invite? I don't know how this works. If it's chess.com, my name is just jstiller30, the same as on Twitch. All right, guys, I'd be about to head out. Bye-bye. See ya. Thanks for popping in. Good conversation, by the way. I always enjoy discussion, and even though I realize it was more of me just ranting, but yeah. Obviously, people have different perspectives on things, and I like that. I think especially in that, because I don't know a lot about sort of that market, so it makes sense that, yeah, you probably know more about it than I do. But that was always just my impression about everything I said. Anyway, take care. Have a good rest of your day. Some plants here with some light. These are some funky looking trees. I think I sent you a friend request so I can play with you. Oh, let me take a look. Let me take a look. Chess.com, right? Are we on chess.com or Lee Chess? I missed what you said. Friend requests. Where can I see friend requests? I don't see anything. Friends. I'm going to click on it. Is your name the same? Yeah, that's chess.com. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. That wasn't meant to be. Okay. Is your name the same? Search members. Nope. Yeah, if I know your name, I can send you a request. Okay, I'll copy paste that. Search members. Okay. I'll add you as a friend while I'm at it. Also, I'll challenge. Okay, standard. Let's do 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Wait, I did not mean to do. Okay, if I sent you a challenge, I did not do it the right way. I did not send you a. Oh no, I did. Okay, hold on. Yeah, 10 minutes standard. Do you have a preference in color? You can be white. Or maybe we'll just go random. We'll go random. Okay, I'm gonna play a game. Here we go. Ready? I'm challenging you. I think this is set up right. Okay, here's. Can I make the screen bigger? How does this work? I don't. Why is this screen so huge? Did you get the invite? Oh, there we go. Sweet. Perfect. All right. I don't know if the sound came through. I don't think it does because I think I have the thing muted. Yeah, so, okay. This is a weird setup. Okay, we'll just go like this. Oh, is there an increment on? That's weird. Alrighty. So, do you have a rating? Do you have a... Okay. Let's go like this. What do I want to do? Bad move by me, but that's okay. This is my lack of openings, and I just move stuff. This is how I start my games. I realize this. I'm not good at chess commentary right now. Also, if you're listening, I'm gonna be like telling you what I'm doing, which is not gonna be great. I guess I'll try to get my king to safety. I'm just gonna develop like normal. Some pieces like that. Bring out that. You know, to target that. Just simple developing moves. Nothing fancy. I can't even count, I don't think, but that's okay. I don't need to count. Who needs counting anyway? It's overrated. That was stupid of me. I'm gonna just lose. No, that was fine. That was fine. All right. Yeah. So I'm not good at chess commentary. That's not a thing. That's a free night. It's not a thing that I am good at, but I can try my best. I guess I'll go something like that and just hit some pieces. This queen seems to be running out of squares a little bit. Not really. It's actually okay. It's kind of getting low actually. Maybe there's a way to trap it. No, probably not. Ooh, this looks like it has to be good, right? If we block, I can at least take. Wait, would that actually be good? Ooh, I think it would be. Okay. This might be terrible, but I'm gonna try. I'm pretty sure this is an okay thing. Because I think after this, I actually end up with a rook. But first, let's throw in that check, and then we'll scoop up the rook. Or, oh gosh, this has to be better, right? Yeah, I think that's better. That's just a free, yeah, that's just an extra piece, I think. So this is kind of what I thought might happen, but I'm getting in there with check, which seems even better. And then I still get the rook at the end. So I think this is better. Oh, I almost just hit the flag. Would that just have auto-resigned me? Ooh, okay, so if I take the rook, you'll pin my queen to my king, and that would be bad, typically. However, yeah, so let's just get. So yeah, I can't really take the rook, or else I'll lose my queen. So that would be bad. See, this is like where me thinking slightly tactically is good. Anyway, this is not art. If you're just coming in for art, I swear I will do art. This is what I was doing today. Actually, I'm gonna be done after this, but just playing a quick chess game. Okay, so there's that. So this actually wins a queen, unfortunately, because I was pinned before. But now that I castled out of it, now I have a fork. Sorry for No, it's fine. It's fine. You don't need to apologize. I agreed to play Ellie Friend a game of chess, and so I'm playing some chess. Yeah, no need to apologize. But that is gonna be I'll pre-move that. And that will be, is that checkmate? No, it's very close. There has to be a checkmate somewhere. Can I find it is the question. I don't see it. But this, unless you go there, if this is where you go, it's checkmate. I think if you go here, I can at least chase you away and win a piece. But I'm pretty sure that's checkmate, right? Yeah. No, that's not checkmate either. Oh yes. There, 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 there. And then I think if you go here, it's definitely that. If you go here, okay, is this just going to be stupid and we're just running around it? I feel like I have to have a checkmate. Here. I don't know. It'll happen one way or the other. Okay, I think that's going to be the... What in the world? At this point, I'm not even sure. There we go. Okay, why are you playing chess? I'm now a chess streamer. Good game. I'm now a chess streamer. No, I was just ending the stream with a game of chess. Sorry. I'm a variety streamer. Yeah, so if anyone was here, I realized the sounds weren't on either, so that was probably scared people away. Yeah, good game. Yeah, I need to make sure I have the sounds on though, because not being able to hear the clickety clackety of the pieces moving really kills the vibe, I think. So I should have had the sounds on, I think. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming in. This is what we did today. We started with a bunch of thumbnails, and we voted on them. We voted for number 6, and we turned this painting into this painting. So yeah, that's the thing. Pretty chill painting. Nothing fancy. Pretty chill day. Tired stream. Spiritless Wolf, hope you're doing well. And Exothermic Goblin, yeah, I'm a total variety streamer now. No, I don't think I'm gonna keep playing chess on stream. I've thought about it, but I've played a couple games before, but I don't think it's something that meshes well with the audience, and me playing brain dead chess on stream just doesn't. I don't know. I don't think I don't know. I found out earlier my dad broke his car window. Oh, dang. That sucks. Did he do it on purpose? Just kidding. I don't think that would be intentional. Or did he do it on purpose to unlock it, maybe? I don't know. That seems like a really bad idea. I feel like a locksmith would be cheaper. But yeah, that's something. I hope everything is okay. Oh, he bashed into something while reversing in a car park. Oh, okay. Dang, that sucks. Well, I hope it's fixable, I hope. But yeah, so anyway, thank you all for being here. I had fun. And yeah, apologies to anyone who didn't like the quick chess game. That's probably a thing better to do off stream, because I don't think I'm a great chess streamer. Plus, I feel like with chess streaming, it almost has to be somewhat educational. Like, I feel like there's almost no way around it if you're purely like. Maybe some people can get it if you're already popular. It's entertaining to see somebody just fumble around and be totally terrible, like XQC or somebody. But I feel like on the whole, but again, he's not a chess streamer, right? People aren't showing up because he's a chess streamer. People show up because he's entertaining, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Hope you all had a good holiday. I should stop streaming and go to bed. So, ever played Sudoku? I have played Sudoku, yes. I enjoy Sudoku. I don't do it often, and I'm not very good at. I don't know any of the advanced tactics like the X-wing and the Y-wing. I think those are things. I don't know those things, but I know like the basics. Have I ever tried the other variants? No, but I do follow a YouTuber occasionally called Cracking the Cryptic or Cryptic, I think. Cracking the Cryptic. He's like a puzzler YouTuber, and him. Okay, yeah. So I do know of him, and I've seen some of his videos of him doing various, Sudokus without any numbers at all, but they just have like different rules, but you still are following the Sudoku rules. I have seen some of those, and they're kind of cool. I'm honestly more interested in like the people who make them and like how you come up with puzzles. I feel like that's really fascinating. I'm in a Discord server that's like a fan base of him. Oh, interesting. So he has his own fan base. Doesn't surprise me. I think he's a pretty big channel. And there's people who make them in there. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I always thought making puzzles and stuff is fun. I actually enjoy doing that in chess. So it's like setting up chess arrangements for like tactical puzzles and stuff. I'm a big fan of tactics and puzzles in general in chess. So Yeah, that's right up my alley. I've always been a big puzzler. I've always liked puzzles, um, like mind teasers and not so much riddles, logic puzzles and stuff of that nature. I've always enjoyed those things. So that's been a thing pretty much all my life that I've liked. Um, yeah, I guess that's something about me. You guys maybe knew that. I don't know. I guess I take a very similar approach to art. So maybe maybe it's apparent. Um, but sort of like the I like compositions. I like figuring out what makes things work on kind of a fundamental level, and then I can sort of manipulate it. And it's kind of a big puzzle. It's sort of problem solving. It's I mean, I guess I've literally used a Sudoku analogy, I think, in stream before for painting, where like the first steps of a painting, there's a lot of options, right? All the squares are empty. You can kind of do whatever you want. Obviously, you can't do whatever you want in Sudoku, but in a painting, you can kind of start anywhere. But as you add paint to the canvas and you start to get an idea of what you're supposed to be doing, you kind of have fewer and fewer options. And in some ways, the options are easier, right? Because sometimes they're just made for you. Like they're like, oh, there's only one thing that can fit this painting because it's in the right place. It didn't mean that you didn't have an infinite number of starting positions. It's just by the time you get towards the end, it starts to pick up pace because you things start to make sense. It's like if you need a character in a scene and the scene is about adventurers, like the character is only going to be one type of character, right? It's going to be an adventurer, right? Unless you're going to totally change up the narrative and maybe composition. But like sometimes by the time you get to the end, right? Again, adding characters doesn't need to be the last step either. I hope I didn't imply that. But yeah, sometimes it's just sort of this like no-brainer type of thing. By the time you get to the end, it makes a lot of sense why you would end up with the thing you ended up with. And it's kind of hard to explain, but it's again just like in Sudoku, it's kind of like following Sudoku is the word I was looking for. Sometimes it just kind of follows a sort of a logic of building up a painting, and it's like, why did you do this? Oh, because it was the right thing to do, right? It was the only option. The real question is, how did I get there, right? Because sometimes that's far more fascinating than the end number, right? The first number is finding those first ones, sort of the composition, right? It's far more interesting, in my opinion, to do this stuff, right? This is like, figuring out the first numbers, right? Like the what direct. I mean, again, it's not the analogy breaks down, right? But this stuff is, to me, kind of sets the tone, right? This sets the rules of the painting. Like, what is the painting? Where's the perspective, right? Once you've set the rules, here's the horizon line, right? Here's our eye level, right? What are these, right? Once we've decided what they are, where our eye levels are, right? We've determined our lighting. The rest of it kind of just paints itself. I mean, you still have design, but again, if these were, say, I don't know, mountains, right? And this was a sunny day, and we wanted a plant in here, and sunny day, shining down, sun, right? And we had a green plant in here. We know what colors it's gonna be, kinda. I mean, it's it could be a lot of colors, but it's gonna be like a warm green, right? Because the sun's shining on it. So yeah, it's kind of like you kind of have to set the rules and then you just follow the rules until the end. Sometimes it sounds, this was last stream's painting, by the way, but sometimes it sounds sort of, I guess, magical when people are like, oh, it felt right. But I think oftentimes those sort of it just felt right moments are kind of like when you solve the last couple numbers of a Sudoku. It didn't just feel right. It was right. It was literally the right answer. And you knew it was right because, well, one, you've done so many Sudokus, you don't have to count 1 through 9. It's just kind of, I mean, again, it's not a perfect analogy, right? Sudoku has one answer, art has a lot, but at the end of it, sometimes it does feel a bit like that. Anyway, that's my ramble. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day. We're gonna go raid somebody. We are gonna raid. Let's see. We have a couple people online. Who shall we go to? You love listening to me ramble? I mean, I like rambling, but I'm also way more... What the heck? Is Silas Say live right now? Oh, it's her birthday stream. It's her birthday stream. We're gonna raid Silas A. Here we go. /raid. If you don't know Silas A, she's awesome. She is a big inspiration and has been a big part of sort of getting my stream to where it is. You know, raiding in the early days, huge support from her community. Just even a lot of overlap in community. Maybe that's why today's stream was lower, because half of them are in Sill's stream. I don't know. But I'm joking. I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. We do have a raid call. If you want to copy paste the raid call, please do that. We also have a Discord if you'd like to hang out. You know, maybe play a game of chess or something. I don't know. But yeah, have a good rest of your week. I need sleep and I have a commission to work on. So that will be what I do tomorrow. And take care, everyone. Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. Also, on the 7th, I am doing a New Year's event, but that's coming up in a couple weeks. What time is it for me? It is 3 p.m., but I work night shifts and I didn't sleep much last night. So, I've been up for a very long time. So yeah, thank you all. Take care. Be well, and yeah, go say happy birthday to Silas A. See ya.